Welcome to the Face the Music podcast. What is up, everybody? My name is Matt, and I'm your host. As always, we have this week's top 10 songs of the week, some show announcements, including the next round of bands for MGR Fest, and this week I have a very special guest all the way from down in Gator Country, my good friend Gordon Bihl of Florida bands Hollow Point and his newest band, Tone. You ready? Let's do it. What's up, everybody? How's it going? How's your week? Thank you for joining me for this milestone episode number 10. Now, 10 weeks ago, I started this thing not knowing what I was doing, not knowing if anyone would care. I just lost my job of over 7 years, and I was devastated from that. And starting this podcast was a terrifying thing for me. Well, here we are. We're 10 weeks in, and I've interviewed Path We Choose, Resistor, John Gunther, Rob Moon of the Verse Podcast, Gordon Bihl today. And I officially have one special guest booked every week from now until the second week of July. I have an amazing sponsor right in time for Mental Health Awareness Month, BetterHelp. I can't believe that we're 10 weeks in. I can't believe what's been accomplished, and I especially cannot believe what is yet to come. There is so much exciting shit I can't wait to share with you guys, and all of that starts to see the light of day very shortly after this video premieres. None of it, at all, would even be slightly imaginable without you. I've said it since episode 1, and I'm going to say it every single week. I appreciate and I value the time and support you give me every week, and I have never nor will I ever take it for granted. For my first timers, welcome to the Face the Music family. When you're listening, it's just our time to hang out together, so forget about the insanity of life. Turn off the news, tune out your coworkers, forget your dickhead of a boss. You're never going to hear me talk politics or religion or anything hot button that we get bombarded with and quite frankly drowned in all day every day. So grab your favorite earbuds and an ice cold beer, or just pop on an episode in the car on the way home from work and just tune out the real world. Now, for all of my returning listeners, welcome back, fam. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for listening, and thank you for joining me once again for another episode of the Face the Music podcast. Whether this is your very first episode or your 10th, I do kindly ask that you help me grow this thing, though. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, like and share my posts, vote when there's something to vote on, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and YouTube. Most importantly, check out the Face the Music podcast every week. These are the easiest ways to help me grow, and I appreciate it a lot. So let's spread the word together. Every little bit helps. Now, speaking of helping, anybody who's listened to my show knows I am a huge advocate for mental health. With springtime in full swing, a lot of us deal with things that may affect us in ways that other people don't understand. New season quite often means change, newer routines, and longer days. Many people often end up being overwhelmed or anxious this time of year as we begin to transition over to summer living. Now, for some, it could be the pressure to break the habit of being home all winter to going out because the weather is getting nice. For others, it could be the desire for the perfect beach body and fearing you won't reach your goal in time for the season. Now, for myself personally, it's concert season, and one of my favorite things to do in the summer is go to the beach for a concert. Almost every year, though, I end up missing out on a lot of the bands that I want to see, whether it's because of scheduling or I'm low on funds, priorities, really all of the above. FOMO is a stressful thing for a lot of us, especially during the summer, and it would seem the more time we spend on social media seeing everybody else do the things that we want for ourselves, it gets to be a bit overwhelming at times. I want to let you guys know about my amazing sponsor, BetterHelp. Anxiety often peaks in the late springtime, and BetterHelp can connect you with a therapist who can provide support. Majority of BetterHelp members seek support for anxiety, and 69% of members report improved anxiety symptoms after just 6 weeks of therapy on BetterHelp. It's easy to start. You'll just fill out a questionnaire, and you'll match with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. Easily switch therapists at any time at no extra cost if it's not the right fit for you. They carefully make sure therapists on the platform are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help you with any questions. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. Let BetterHelp help you rule your anxiety so your anxiety doesn't rule you. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/facethemusic and get 10% off your first month. Are you interested in being a guest on the Face the Music podcast? Well, hit me up. I'm always looking for bands, musicians, friends, other podcast hosts, promoters, or people who just live for rock and metal that want to come on and talk. Let's set it up. Don't be shy. It's always a good time. And I will say, though, as previously stated, I am booked up for quite a while. So if you've got something that you want to come and talk about or promote, whatever the case may be, do not wait. Email me or message the Face the Music Instagram page ASAP, and let's get you booked. You ready for this week's Top 10? Here we go. This week's Top 10, we will hear music from Devoted Fusion, Fit for a King, August Burns Red, Employed to Serve, Slaughtered to Prevail, Landmarks, Bullet for My Valentine, Metallica, Dead Within Days, and Extinction AD. As always, you'll hear all the clips of the top 10 on Spotify episodes, but unfortunately, YouTube snitches if you want to upload music. So, if you are watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, the clips won't be featured, but not to worry, YouTube, you can still listen to the full songs over on the Face the Music Top 10s playlist over on Spotify. Code will be at the end of the top 10, and it's also in the link that's on all of my socials. Top 10 for week 10. Here we go. At number 10 this week, we have Devoted Fusion. Devoted Fusion is a three-piece prog metal band out of Long Island, New York. Frontman Sean created the band back in 2015, with their first show being March 2016. I played that show with them back when I was in Logan's room. Devoted Fusion played after us, and I remember they completely won the crowd over because they played Escape from the City from Sonic Adventure 2. It was legitimately awesome. The band's released one album titled Hill Valley 88, as well as multiple singles and an EP that was the band's first release back in 2016. Devoted Fusion is currently writing for their follow-up to Hill Valley. Hopefully we see a 2026 release. This song is a re-record, especially the song was off of their original EP, Ride Earthbound. This is Devoted Fusion with the re-record of King of Equality. At number 9, we have British metalcore band Employed to Serve. The band formed back in 2011 with singer Justine and guitarist Sammy, and they were just only teenagers at the time. The band released its first EP in 2012 entitled Long Time Dead, second EP Counting Crows in 2013, and third EP Change Nothing, Regret Everything in 2014 before releasing their first full-length in 2015 entitled Grayer Than You Remember. The band would go on to release 3 more full lengths before dropping their fourth on April 25th of this year entitled Fallen Star. The band cites Machine Head, Testament, and Exodus as influences, which for any metalhead is more than enough to get your blood pumping in anticipation. At number 9, we have Employed to Serve, the title track off their most recent release. This is Fallen Star.
These
Number 8. Since this is a special week, this is a special top 10. Throwing it all the way back to the Constellations album. This is August Burns Red. I'm going to see these guys next week, and I could not be more excited. Bleed From Within, August Burns Red, Trivium, and Bullet for My Valentine on the Poison Ascendancy tour. This will be my third time seeing the Pennsylvania Metalcore Titans, celebrating their own 20th anniversary this year of the debut album Thrill Seeker. This is one of my all-time favorite ABR songs. Off of Constellations, this is Whitewashed. At number 7 this week, Tyler, Texas metalcore outfit Fit for a King. Started back in 2007, the band would release their first EP, Descendants, in 2011. Fit for a King is a brutally heavy band, and 7 albums in with one on the way, the band really shows no signs of slowing down. They are one of the most consistent metal bands out there, where their sound is undeniably them, but they also don't sound like they're just repeatedly rewriting the same song. They continue to hone in on what they do, and it just gets better with every album. This song is one of the band's more recent singles, assuming this song will also be on their yet-to-be-named, but also announced but no specific release date given in the cryptic post on the band's social media on April 18th. This song is called No Tomorrow. Number 6, My Boys in Dead Within Days. I previously featured Dead Within Days on a past episode with their song The Circle. Well, the boys are back with a brand new single called Lost Light. This song rips hard. It takes influence from a lot of bands, such as Darkest Hour, Bullet for My Valentine. There's some thrash in there that gives me like Big Testament vibes too. I love it. This song is a certified banger, and I can't wait for the band's next release. Dead Within Days will also be coming on the show in just a couple weeks. I'm very excited to sit down with the guys. So enjoy the brand new single. At number 6, this is Dead Within Days, Lost Light. Number 5 song of the week for week 10 goes to French metalcore band Landmarks. Out of Marseille, France, the band formed in 2014 and has 4 albums released to date. Their most recent album just dropped last week, entitled The Darkest Place I've Ever Been. The new album is absolutely fantastic, and if you have not heard of these guys before, hop on the train now. Definitely out of order for where it is on the album, but the song I'm going to play for you in just a second was the first song that I heard off of this album, The Darkest Place I've Ever Been. At number 5, this is Landmarks with Sulfur. Taking a number 4 spot this week, we have the brutal Russian band that, if I didn't know any better, I would say was fronted by some grizzly bear / crocodile hybrid. I could only be talking about Slaughter to Prevail. The boys are back with an absolutely chaotic new track, and as to be expected, it throws down hard. Frontman and new hashtag Bear Dad Alex Terrible shows his disgustingly stank face inducing vocal range yet again. The band announced their new album, much to nobody's surprise. The album is going to be called Grizzly. I'm fairly sure that Alex may fully believe he is a bear at this point. The new album comes out July 18th of this year. This is the newest single at number 4. This is slotted to prevail with Russian Grizzly in America. And we're down to the top 3 songs of week 10. At number 3, this is a special one. This goes out to my boy Gordon. This is a very special song to him. You'll hear about it in our interview in just a little bit. This is the song that kickstarted his musical career. One of the first songs he ever really learned how to play when he was picking up a guitar. And this is a song that made him realize his own potential and that he wants to bring music to the Sebring, Florida area. For my boy Gordon, we have the Metal Legends Metallica. At number 3, this is Enter Sandman. In your closet, in your hand, exit light, and tonight, grain of sand, exit light, and tonight, take my hand, off to never, never land. Number 2 this week. Like I said, special week, special songs. This is a song I want to dedicate to all of my locals. All the people that never believed in me. We should never let anybody else try to turn us away from the things that we're passionate about. Something we believe in. Being in any small-time endeavor, whether it's a new business or a new podcast, a local band, trying anything really new that anyone tries to convince you isn't the right way to do things. And rather than lift you up, they put you down. Rather than support you, they try to oppress. And never stop believing in yourselves. Never stop believing in what you know you have to give to this world. No words are sweeter to say once you've made yourself successful other than, look at me now. This one's for all my locals. Keep doing your thing. Keep working. Show them all what you're made of. I'm always proud to shout out the bands that are doing the damn thing. At number 2 this week, this is Bullet for My Valentine, celebrating 20 years of The Poison. This is 4 Words to Choke Upon. And your number 1 song of week 10, a band that has more than made a name for themselves in the Long Island scene. They've been around a long time now. Forming back in 2013, they have toured all over. They are absolute workhorses. Their sound combines hardcore, thrash, and they bring it all the way back to the early 90s metal, like the Pantera, really good groove thrash shit. This band brings the ruckus. The band I'm referring to is Extinction AD. The band has 3 EPs and 4 full-lengths out, and their most recent came out in 2024, entitled To the Detested. Please go check out Extinction AD. They are one of Long Island's best, and they've been grinding since they started, really. Your number 1 song of week 10. This is Extinction AD, off of To the Detested. This is Escape from New York. From You can check out all of the full songs on the Face Music Top 10s playlist on Spotify by either searching or scanning the code on your screen now. My friends in bands, if you have a show coming up, a new single, album, or EP dropping, please let me know. I want to do my part in making sure that your music gets heard and your band gets seen. So please reach out to me. Either shoot me an email at theftmpod@gmail.com or just send me a message on Instagram. Either way works. Got a couple of show announcements real quick, guys. May 16th, we have Vanna featuring Lost Becomes at Amityville Music Hall, Amityville, New York. This is the comeback of Vanna. The show is going to be huge. I may try to head down for this one. The last time I saw Vanna, actually, was at Warped Tour a very long time ago. I want to say like 2010, 2011 maybe. And I still have not gotten the chance to see Lost Becomes yet, so this is going to be a pretty prime show. Also, for the Lost Becomes dudes, a few weeks later, they're opening for the metal legends Dry Kill Logic on their comeback tour. Congrats to Lost Becomes on 2 huge spots. May 24th, start of Memorial Day weekend, we have yet another fantastic night of metal featuring Uchikatsu, Patterns of Decay, and Tethered. This is going to be at City Sound Studios in Ronkonkoma, New York. Also featuring Graveborn from Massachusetts, Cytokine from New Hampshire, and Soul Mirror. One day later, May 25th, we have Sand City South in Lindenhurst, New York. We have I Dreamt the Sea, Dead Within Days, Soul Searcher, Numb Flower, and Hope Speak. Doors are at 6 p.m., $15 to get in. It is cash only, so hit the bank on your way, and it's a 21 and up event. This is a little bit of a bigger event, but we came as Romans after the burial Currents and Johnny Booth, the boys from Long Island, blowing up on the Bad Luck North American tour this July and August. For us New Yorkers, you can see their hometown show. They're playing the Palladium in Times Square July 24th, only day 2 of this huge tour. July 26th, Moongroove Records hosts MGR Fest 2025. This event will take place at Uber Geek Brewing in Riverhead, New York. This is going to be like a Long Island version of the Warped Tour. The whole thing kicks off at noon. It's going to feature local artists and touring acts. There's going to be plenty of vendors, activities, games, food trucks, and much more. $25 if you buy early, $30 at the door, so make sure you save yourself some time and cash and buy early. Now, every week, I've been updating our list of bands announced for MGR Fest, and as of today, we now have Farsight, Ringside Tonic, Pathmaker, Cheem, Path We Choose, Soul Searcher, Resist the Temptation, With Sales Ahead, and the newest additions, Dead Within Days, Hope Speak, and Pulses. Keep your eyes on the Moongroove Records page, as there are only a few announcements left before the entire lineup has been revealed. Please give all of these bands a follow and listen, and make sure you buy your tickets early. $25 online or 30-day of event. Save yourself some merch and beer money, and also save time at the door since the event starts at noon. You want to make sure you're there and inside early for when the first band kicks off. Next Friday, I will have the next round of bands. Don't wait for me, though. Please go follow Moongroove Records and get the announcements in real time. Now, my special guest this week is someone that I would be willing to bet 99.9% of you don't know. He is a small town man, has a wife, a daughter, he's a hard worker, and he's a musician. Gordon, while you may not know him, I want you guys to listen to the whole thing, okay? He has an amazing story. From having to deal with tragedy and loss at a very young age to discovering the healing power of music and the passion for playing guitar almost by accident, going on to begin the movement that Sebring, Florida never expected. He brought metal to a quiet farm town. Gordon tells his story, the ups and the downs, and the rebuild to become the man that he is today. I've known Gordon for about 10 years now, and his story is legitimately incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy this. This is what Face the Music is all about. Stories like this. This is why I'm doing this podcast. Buckle up. It's a long one, but it's an emotional one. I am proud to introduce to you my friend, Gordon Bihl of Covered in Black, Hollow Point, and Tone. Welcome to the show, Gordon. The floor is yours, my friend. All right, guys, Matt sitting here with Gordon Bihl of Tone of Hollow Point down in Sebring, Florida. Gordon, what's going on, dude?
You see it, my guy.
Welcome to the show. I'm glad to finally connect with you after God knows how many years.
2015,
Yeah, man. 10 years.
2014, 10
9 to
years,
10
man.
years. That's
Yeah,
crazy shit, dude.
it is.
So, you've been busy. I've been busy, and we've always kept each other in the loop. And you've had a hell of a couple of years going with your musical career, which is what brings you here today. Is that you got two, well, one relatively new project and one brand new project you're ready to take over Southern Florida with. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you got going on?
All right, so you want the acoustic or do you want like hollow point or tone or like
Well,
what do you want me to fire up my
let's
personality?
let's do a small touch on what you built with Covered in Black. Like, give me the bullet points, the highlights, what you did for your scene down there, because that was something very new to you and the Sebring scene, right?
Well, we'll say newish. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, there was a big music scene here. Um, I wasn't around back then. I moved to Sebring in 2003. I was in third grade, so I was a little shit. Yeah, I was born in '94, but I remember being five and enjoying the last year of the '90s. That was great. Um, during those years, because this also pertains to that, I remember listening to the radio station because I grew up in Davie, and
Okay.
yeah, that's where most of the Beals come from anyway. And down there's a radio station, and I know there's probably some people going to give me shit for this because I'm going to butcher the memory on this. I think it was called the Zeta, but at the time they played brand new Alice in Chains, Godsmack.
Oh, so it's the butt rock station.
Sure. But I mean, like, I remember hearing Straight Outta Line for the first time on the radio, Papa Roach for the first time on the radio. Turn the Page when it was brand new. I
Hmm.
didn't know what all this was, but like I also grew up on like my dad's music was like Golden Earring, AC/DC, Def Leppard. I mean, just my mom was a big Def Leppard, White Snake fan. And I grew up listening to all this, but I also grew up on country too, because I mean that was a big thing, like good country, like Alan Jackson, George Jones, Willie Nelson,
So actual
uh,
country.
real country, yeah,
Yeah.
Hank Williams Jr., John Anderson. As far as like the blues stuff, I mean, fucking George Thorogood, Jimi Hendrix. I had a little taste of it all, and of course, my sister, God rest her soul, she passed away at the age of 15 from suicide.
Oh
But
God, man. Sorry.
yeah, that's a whole the trauma side of what put me down the path I'm on now is a whole nother story for another time. And I'm sure if if any of my family sees this, they'll be like, you know what, that's a lot, and it is. But anyway, my sister, she was big into R&B and hip hop. Me and my wife, we just got while she was making dinner, she had some hip hop playing, and Akon's Locked Up started playing, and it took me so far back. Like, oh my God, like I almost started crying because I was just like, it was like bringing up memories that like, my sister passed away when I was 8, 9. I'm 31 now. I
Hmm.
still remember a lot of those days like they were yesterday. And that's the one thing about music, any genre. It'll pull up a memory
Hmm.
and like put you right back in that spot, you know.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so R&B, my mom was big on like Alicia Keys and shit like that. My dad was big on Eminem when Eminem first came out, and Kid Rock, you know. Yeah, I mean, what else? What was the big thing back in Mambo Number Five in the 2000s? Fucking
Yep.
yeah, like we all grew up with it, you know. And when I remember growing up, I stayed more closer towards like pop, kind of.
Yeah.
I was never a metalhead, dude. I wasn't. And that's the funniest thing about this whole story. I was never a metalhead. It was more along the lines of like just any music I listened to, I liked.
Hmm.
Um, I remember when I got into middle school, I fucking hated rock, dude.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I don't know why. I fucking hated it. And I would make fun of my dad for listening to that old dad rock, and here I am.
That didn't take too long.
And then shut your mouth. I'm trying not to think of how fast time goes by anymore.
Dude, I feel you. When I was in like fourth grade, like pop music was the thing. Like it was unavoidable. Everyone was into it. And I was always afraid to admit it because like everyone always gave everyone so much shit. If you're a dude that likes pop music, forget about it. You're toast. But
Fuck that.
I
I'll rock in sync and fucking Backstreet
dude,
Boys all day long. I give
I
a fuck. I
I
give a fuck.
love NSYNC. I've been an NSYNC fan
That was
from
what my
jump.
sister got me onto. It's funny you say that. My first performance in front of a crowd
Yeah.
was my second grade talent show, and my sister and I learned the entire choreography to Bye Bye Bye.
Hell yeah, dude.
And I was so nervous. I'm like, this is stupid. But the
Yeah.
whole class liked it. And everyone was like, you did such a good job, Gordon. I'm like, I fucking hate this shit. I didn't want to do the choreography. But you know what? It's funny. My sister, she was big into singing. She had like those old school, um, we all had them at one point coming out. I mean, sure you grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Those fucking RCA CD players where you could see the disc through the little window spinning, and
100%. I still have
that.
mine.
I wish I still had mine. But my sister, she had like this fucking Barbie or Bratz dolls cassette thing, and it came with empty cassette tapes, and it came with a microphone, and
Hmm.
she would record herself singing. And you know what's funny? I'd always look at my sister like, man, she's got such a great voice, and she loved dancing. She was in cheer, you know, and you know, going through all that, I was never a big rock person. I
Hmm.
remember it was 2007. I was in seventh grade. My mother had just passed. So any and all music, whatever was there, I listened to it. I didn't really move to one genre.
Hmm.
I was going through a lot of trauma at the time too. Like my mom just died, and that was like the sixth person out of a 3 year span.
Oh God,
And
dude.
those people were like, their deaths were connected by like weeks or months.
Damn.
Yeah, bro. I had to grow up at an extremely young age.
Hmm.
12 years old, December 12th, 2006. I remember waking up to my dad screaming that she's not breathing, she's not breathing. Me and my little brother we stay on a bunk bed, and this is when we lived in Lake Placid at the time. And I remember peeking out my bedroom door, and I see my mom spread kind of, our entertainment center kind of looked like that. The dog's blankets was kind of like it right here. My mom was kind of spread, long ways like this.
Hmm.
And I can see my dad's back, and he's like trying to compress her chest, and then he starts crying. I hear a pop. Apparently he didn't know what to do with CPR, so he's on the phone with paramedics. He broke one of her ribs, and
Oh
apparently
shit. Damn,
but
man.
when the paramedics got there, she had already died in her sleep. She was on dialysis. She had diabetes. She had one liver. It was or one liver, one kidney. It was failing.
Yeah.
She had a hole in one of her lungs from smoking all of her life. Like I said, that's a whole other story. Anyway,
Yeah.
let me get back to the music. My bad.
I'm sorry you have
Um,
to deal with all that, man.
dude, it
That's my heart goes out to you, dude.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I growing up, I used that as an excuse to get myself out of a lot of situations. And looking back in hindsight, that was kind of selfish to do that, and I deeply regret being that way. But that all of that leads to it pertains to where I'm going with this. So anyway, 2007, I'm at my friend Trevor LaFile's house, and he's got an acoustic guitar. It's got like maybe two or three strings. Now I've seen guitars growing up. I've seen people play them, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Never really picked one up. So I picked it up, and I found out that I was right-handed with it. So I'm plucking the strings with my fingers. I'm kind of doing this, and then I'm taking my finger and putting it on each fret. I'm putting it on the metal part, thinking, is this how it's done? And then I put my finger between two of the metal things on the neck, and I pluck the string, and I'm like, oh, that's how that works. And of course, like everyone else, I remember my friend Trevor was setting up his PS2. He just got, of course, nobody was rich at the time. It's 2007, so nobody could afford a fucking PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360. So we were just coming out of the GameCube, PS2, and original Xbox era. So he's hooking up his brand new PS2 that he just got because they still sold them at GameStop at the time. That's how far back this goes. So I said, "Hey man, can I borrow the guitar?" He goes, "Yeah, go ahead." So I remember taking it back across the street because I live right across the street from him, and I was at my house. I was in the backyard, and of course my dad would have music blaring. He was a big alcoholic, so he would just drink, 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 and whoops. Um, listen. I know my limits. I enjoy it. I know my limit, and I've already like I've thrown up on my wife before. We're nope. I've learned to be beyond that. But anyway, um, so I brought the guitar home. I started plucking on it a little bit. I'm like, man, this is cool. And of course, what are the two first songs everyone learns on guitar?
Smoke on the Water and Iron Man.
That's it. That's it. My third song, though, was the bridge riff before the chorus on Enter Sandman, and I learned that from a kid right down the road
Oh
who
yeah.
had an electric guitar.
Dude,
And
it
when
it
he,
took me years to learn that. I knew
yeah,
I knew the main riff, but I couldn't the dexterity of my fingers, I could not get that bridge riff. So that's cool that you
it,
just like went
it's
right
kind
there.
of it's like walking. You got to
Yeah.
think of it like
Yeah.
that when you're playing that riff.
Hmm.
I've learned to bar the whole and
Yeah.
then use his
That's
fingers. I've learned to
that's
do that,
that's
and
what
it
I
sounds
ended
more
up
like the
doing.
record. But like you said, that was years for me to do that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I smoke on the water. Then after that, I went right into Nirvana. Smells like Teen Spirit. Rape Me. What else? In Bloom. That was a big one I wanted to learn. Of
I feel like everyone had that Nirvana phase when you're learning guitar.
course,
Easy
because they're
shit.
simple riffs. They're
Come
simple
as
riffs.
come as you are is pretty much as easy as it gets. Like, and that's the whole song. So like, if you learn the riff, you learn the entire song.
That's it. Yeah. Um, then after that, I got into a big Offspring, um, original Prankster, Come Out and Play, Self Esteem. Yeah, I mean that was my big go-to. And
So you
then
you found your way into what you hated then.
do what?
You found your way into what you hated.
Yeah.
All the rock music.
And it's funny, right? You know, I really prayed to God that like, after my mom died, like my faith was dwindling, but like I just prayed to God this like, just take away the pain, find me an outlet.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you can see.
Hmm.
That's my that's my original Xbox. That is my original Xbox my mother got me
Oh wow.
back in 2005. I've had it refurbished twice. That's my 360 I just bought, and then my wife gifted me that for my birthday. That's the Xbox One X. I don't have a Series X. And then everything else in the other cabinets, I think that one is the Nintendo cabinet. I have a Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, and Wii. Right here is my PlayStation 2 Platinum. And then up there in the corner is my gaming PC. And I have
Nice.
I have, yeah, that's my other passion. I'm looking to start a channel about that, before too long. And then
Go for it.
those two fucking cases up there, it's over 1,000 games that I have physical copies of. I
Jesus.
have, you name it. Well, I can't say you name it, I have it because there's some game. I'm not a Final Fantasy person.
Same.
Um, I'm a big, I like racing games. I like action games. I have every Doom minus Dark Ages. I have almost every Call of Duty. I have every Need for Speed from '94 up till Unbound. Um, and most of what I use, and it's funny, it's a Windows 10,
Hmm.
and I use it for like fucking. I play like older PC games like Motor
Yeah.
Racer, Cabela's Big Game Hunter back when that was a fucking thing. I got the Ted Nugent Wild Hunt game. I
Oh
can't
yeah.
get it to fucking work. Yeah, the one where like you take the aim at the animal and fucking Stranglehold starts playing. Yeah, yeah. No,
That's
I grew
awesome.
I grew I grew up on that old fucking, and that's the reason why I do that because like at the time during all that depression, games were my shit, dude.
Yeah, man.
That Xbox is like one of the last things I have of my mother's, man. So, and the games helped, but I kept praying to God. I was like, give me something. Then I met a buddy of mine. His name is Corey Seymour. I don't I don't talk to him much anymore, but we were tight. We were really, really, really tight. You may have seen some posts like where I've tagged him in it, Corey R. Seymour.
Hmm.
I don't know. Oh yeah, that
It rings a bell, yeah. I remember
that
seeing
was that
something.
that was my dude. I was going through a lot of shit, and after my mom died, I kept trying to hold long relationships with girls in school, and my dumbass thought I would find one. There are some people who are lucky enough, and praise God that those people are able to stay together for so long and tolerate one another, et cetera, et cetera. But I kept looking for love because I guess because everyone passed away in my family, I needed something.
Yeah.
My dad was in and out of jail, since before my mom died, before all the family died. Like he was in and out of jail, and he was always drinking. So I could never catch my dad sober enough. There was few and far between times I could, but it was never for a long time.
Hmm.
And me and him had a very rocky relationship towards like the end of his life. Like he just passed away a couple of years ago, and the last time I talked to him, I had to Baker Act him. He threatened to kill himself in front of, like he threatened he was going to kill himself to where my daughter and my wife could find his body in my house or in the backyard.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So and
Holy shit, dude.
bro, I've been through so much,
Yeah,
and I
no
try
doubt.
to like stay as positive as possible. So anyway, back to the story. Corey kind of really got me into music. I met him in gym class in 10th grade, and he's seen that I was a big advocate for the Offspring. Well, Corey was a person I used to go hang out over at his house. We used to, we went and seen the first Avengers movie together, and fucking, we'd always go hang out at the lake, Lake Jackson, and we'd spend the night at each other's houses. And then he hit me with this thing one in 2014. He's like, "Hey man, I got one free ticket. Do you want to go?" I'm like, "To what?" He goes, "It's Godsmack, Seether, Pop Evil,
Hmm.
um, Skillet, Escape the Fate." I'm like, "I've only heard like three of those bands." He's like, "What, do you want to go?" I'm like, "Sure." I've never been to a rock festival. I've never been to a concert. This is Uproar Tour 2014. I'm sure you can go online and find photos
I
of it
know
or whatever.
all about it. Uproar was
Okay,
my
so
shit, dude.
some of the some of the YouTube videos when Escape the Fate's playing during that day, that specific. If you look up Tampa, or I'm sorry, yeah, if you look up Tampa Mid Florida Credit Union Amphitheater,
Hmm.
Escape the Fate 2014 Uproar Tour, there's a guy that goes completely flying over top of the circle pit during Escape the Fate.
Was that you?
No, that was my buddy Mikey.
Oh
And me
yeah.
and Corey had to sit with him next to the ambulance to make sure he was okay.
Oh shit.
They put him on a stretcher. They thought he got a concussion, like he died. He
Oh my
finally
God.
came to. Me and Corey were like, "Bro, you all right?" He finally came to, and then we're like, yeah, let's not let's not get that wild. We still got to go. See there and Godsmack's still supposed to get on stage, and that was during the time 1,000 horsepower came out when it was brand new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah, Corey took me there that night. We met Black Jacket. That was the first time I ever got to meet a rock band, and they were cool. They were cool, man. Like after the show, they took pictures with us. They let us hang out with them at their tent. They fed us. Like all
Really?
these fans are walking around, and there's a bunch of people like hanging out with them, getting their autograph and shit. They let me, my buddy Corey, and Mikey sit at their tent, and we ate with them.
Damn, dude.
They're buying us fucking drinks. We're
That's
not
so cool.
21. Coolest fucking dude. We went and seen them a couple times. A couple years afterwards, every year they did a couple shows, and we would go and hang out. And they disbanded. They're no longer a thing anymore. But
Oh,
I gotta send you some of their music. Their music's still on Spotify.
yeah.
But man,
Yeah, definitely send it to me. I want to check that out.
uh, yeah, it's not like really hardcore stuff, but it's like it's it's dad rock, I guess.
Dude, I
It's
mean,
it's good
I'm
music. I love them. I love them.
as much of a metalhead as I am, I still love Godsmack. I still love like all that old shit. Seether, dude, I love Seether. Pop Evil, man. Like I just went to go see them on my birthday. They're fucking amazing.
Dude,
Um,
fucking trenches. That
dude.
riff kicks so much ass. Da-da, da-da-da-da. Like, what?
If you
The
have
heart
not
is lost. What the fuck are you talking about,
if
man?
you have not checked out Pop Evil since 2014, they've only gotten better.
Oh yeah,
They're
I've seen
legitimately
them at
kings of the
Earth Day
riff.
Birthday, and I seen them a couple days later at Rockville. They were playing. I think that was the 2018 year.
Hmm.
They did Earth Day Birthday, and they did Welcome to Rockville. And me and my wife, that was at the time, well, girlfriend at the time. We Her and I were like big festival goers. Corey kind of took me to the Uproar tour, and as I'm looking around, just there, I remember one moment, the first time I seen people like vomiting on one another, mosh pits, and just festival fucking shenanigans, right? But it wasn't even just that. It was just the music, the ambience, the way everybody was just there for one single purpose, man. Just listen to the music, man. Just
Hmm.
leave your fucking problems at the door and listen to the music. That's it. You know, and
It's
for
so
all
simple.
I believe in God. I believe in God. Jesus is my savior. But there's a lot of Christians out there that feel like this type of music is just like it's all hail Satan stuff. And it's not even it. If you go and you actually see what goes on, you realize
Hmm.
people are there for joy. They're there for happiness. No one's there to sacrifice a lamb or a child on stage. I promise you. I mean, I can't say that there's some bands that wouldn't do that, but
There are, but
90% they're just there to rock and give people a good show. They love to play music and entertain. I am now one of those people, and I'm proud to
yeah.
say that because that moment that I was kind of taking everything in, I was like, dude, I play guitar. I want to do this. This is fucking awesome. And I remember going home that night. I found myself, I watched Cedar that night when they were playing. That was when what's that song that they play?
Is that
All I really want is something beautiful to say. What song is that? I can't think of the name of it right now.
I just for forewarning, I'm very bad with song titles sometimes, but I know the song you're talking
You know
about.
that song. That
Yeah.
was when that album was that was when that album came out. Yeah, so I got back home. I was going through a lot at the time. I Again, it's like the shit never stops.
Right.
And music was like my outlet, trying to find a full-time job. I was partying every night, hanging out with people, just drinking. I wasn't doing anything with my life. I remember January 1st, I finally got my break and my first full-time job at Tires Plus, it's a Firestone, you know. That's what I went to college for was automotive service technology.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So I can yank radiators. I've never rebuilt an engine, But if I see something that needs to be replaced, I usually can figure it out.
Hmm.
Just like every mechanic now, I use YouTube. So whatever. I'm not paying that fucking fee. If I can fix it myself, I'm gonna fix it my fucking self.
Amen.
That's bro. Everything in this house you see,
Yep.
I don't play that bullshit. And if I don't know how to fix it, I call my brother because my
Right.
brother knows how to do cabinetry and shit. If there's a Bill, there's a way. That's how we say it in our family. Just saying. But shout out to my little brother Bobby. But um, yeah, 2014 was kind of blurry. Just hanging out with a lot of people. I hadn't met my wife yet. I was slinging game, I was hanging out with other girls and hanging out with other people. That just really wasn't. It really wasn't even. It wasn't potent enough for me to really kind of see what I was doing in life. Like everybody around me was kind of doing the same thing. And I was like, you know what? Let me get my shit together because like I want to get a job. I want to make some real fucking money.
Hmm.
Well, at the time I was making $300 a week at Tires Plus. That's 1,200 a month full time.
Hmm.
During that time, I went through a real nasty breakup. I just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna focus on myself." And I still played guitar. I'm still following Metallica. I'm still having that endless goal of trying to play rhythm on every song from every album. Maybe I'll get there one day, maybe I won't. And that was kind of like the only thing I was really doing with music. I was also getting into street racing. That was a big thing I was getting into. I used to help organize some of the meets over here in Sebring where the Home Depot and Lowe's is right off 27. And we used to go behind the Highlands Hammock State Park. There's a bunch of roads back there that connect within themselves. Yeah, we did it the Need for Speed, Fast and Furious way. We didn't. We did the drag racing because there was a long stretch of road back there. The drag racing was fun and it was great. Best two out of threes, whatever. But when you can line up 4 to 6 cars at a time and yeet through the fucking county roads, that's where it was at. um, so during that time, I was kind of playing games, cars, not really focusing on music. And when I was 20, I started to look around and said, you know what? Let me try to put something together. My buddy Corey at the time played bass. I don't think he knew how to tune. He just kind of, if the strings were tight enough, they made noise.
Yeah.
I love you, bro. But hindsight looking back with the knowledge I have now being in music, that's what it was. Uh, he knew how to go between standard and drop D tuning, which is just the one string, whatever.
Yeah.
I got with him, and then there was another buddy of mine, I forget his name. He's really good on drums. We all went to school together. Rashawn, I think Rashawn was his name. Really cool dude, really chill. And we practiced "Wood" by Alice in Chains, and it sounded
Nice.
good. But once I was trying to start to schedule practices together, and I'm wanting to do this.
Hmm.
I think once they started to see like, fuck, this is too much time away from fill in the blank of what they like to do for the day or what they do on a daily. It's just like, is it worth is it worth their time playing with this, doing something? And it just kind of fell apart,
Mm.
you know. And I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna keep jamming. I don't want to stop playing my guitar just because people don't want to be in a band. Okay. Well then it was 2015. I started at Tires Plus. And then I worked for a couple months, went through a really nasty breakup. I said, you know what? Fuck that. I'm just going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on my career. Whatever happens, happens. But I'm never going to like let anyone get in my face and pull me away from what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be a fucking tool anymore. I'm not going to be used. I was a gullible son of a bitch. And at times I can still be one, but like I'm a lot more smarter about it this time.
Mm.
Again, another story for another time. But then I met Brianna and our first date was Hooters. It was for the chicken. It's weird. But I swear, bro, she's been the best thing that's happened to me. She uh she kind of helped me realize who I was hanging out with as far as friends and whoever, and it made me realize that I don't need to be around those people
Yeah.
because it's not benefiting me. I'm not benefiting them, and I'm just kind of there. And I started focusing on myself. I got my first apartment, but well, it was my second apartment. Um, but I got an apartment. Brianna moved in. She was going to college, high school, and had a part-time job. I had a full-time job.
Hmm.
I started playing guitar more, and then I found out that, it's cool to record and put your stuff out there. So I think that's right around the time I met you, ish. Yeah, when I met Brianna, we moved in together, my second apartment, and I started playing my guitar and posting videos online on my Facebook. And with with doing that, people were, reacting, and it kind of gave me more confidence. Like I can do this. Like people kind of really like what I had going, and it's always been in the back of my head, like, dude, I want to be in a band so fucking bad. I want to play. I want to entertain people. And my wife, um, as far as like getting more inspired, we were wanting to, go to concerts and shit. And um, I totally skipped one detail before she moved in with me. First time I took her to any concert, she didn't know she was going to a concert. She assumed, but I was like, we're not going to a concert. And then I surprised her with Van Halen back in 2015 in Tampa.
Oh, cool, dude.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very, very happy I got to experience that. Um, and Van Halen was one of her favorite bands. She didn't know until we pulled through the gate. I pulled over, put the caution lights on, and handed her a manila folder. I said, go ahead, take a look. And she's like, we're going to see Van Halen. Oh my God. I did it Facebook Live because I wanted everybody to see.
That's awesome.
I was a fucking sap back then. Romantic sap. No, that was a good show. That was a good show. That was. I'm very very happy to be able to see that. And then it's a couple of years, a handful of years later, then Eddie passes away. I look back and I'm like, that was good. I'm happy I did that. I'm happy her first concert was Van Halen. It didn't have Michael Anthony. Sure, David Lee Roth isn't the front man he was years ago, but
No, he's not.
no, he's not. Um, I just seen that video that Sammy Hagar just released called Encore, Thank You, Good Night or whatever.
Yeah, I was listening to a little bit of that, I think earlier today.
It's nice. It's nice. It's a nice, and the whole Eddie chanting in the middle. And forgive me, I don't know the guitarist's name that he has now, but
I'm pretty sure he has Joe Satriani right now.
yes, Joe Satriani, that's who it is. And Joe does a perfect job of paying respectable similar notes to what Eddie would do in a solo, and I like that. And I showed my wife that last night, and I said, "Look, that's probably the closest you're gonna get to a Sammy Hagar Van Halen new song."
Yeah.
So I like some Sammy Van Halen songs. Dreams, Humans Being from Twister.
Yes, sir.
That's a sick fucking song. That riff is dope. I love it.
I
Uh,
love the Hagar era, truthfully. It's
yeah,
great
yeah, I
music.
have, no, I have nothing against it. I mean, when it comes down to it, I'm sorry, but I'm standing on the David Lee Roth side just because Unchained, Panama, Thought the Teacher. I mean,
But
what the fuck else? Why wouldn't I defend that?
to counter that
But
though, David Lee Roth didn't write Dreams or Right Now.
no, he didn't.
That's two of the best songs Van Halen have. But
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
I
they each put in their own contributions. They each
All right.
hauled ass with the band.
Let me ask you this: where did you hear Dreams first? First
So
time you heard Dreams
I
from
have
Van
a
Halen?
I have a very interesting answer for that because
Oh, come on, because I might have the same answer.
I would be very surprised if you did.
Okay.
It It was for a video for the Blue Angels
Oh.
that
No,
my
I do remember seeing that. My older brother Brian is like big into like aviation and shit. I do remember seeing a Blue Angel. It was like an older video, right? Like a 90s-ish kind of like a
so
VHS kind.
I could be wrong. My dad used to do video editing like way back in the 90s with like, actual VHS. Um, and I'm pretty sure he edited a video for a local news station, News 12 Long Island with Dreams. Um, I'm pretty sure he did, but that's the first time I ever heard the song was in a Blue Angels video.
Oh, okay.
Why? What were
Mine
you
was at the
thinking?
very end of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Oh God.
Right when they're setting off all the fireworks and Angel Grove says, "Thank you, Power Rangers," and Bulk and Skull was like, "Bulk and Skull." Yeah. Yep. Guess you could say I intentionally live in the past because I don't know, fucking society was just greater back then, I guess.
I can't blame you.
I love how technology is allowing us to do what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Technology has allowed me to learn guitar, but I miss the simple analog, not having a device in your
Mm-hmm.
hand. I miss people with common fucking sense. I
Mm-hmm.
miss when people knew how to fucking drive, when people
Yeah.
knew how to talk to one another, when if somebody ran their fucking mouth, they got punched. They either swallowed it, shook hands with that person, or they duked it out, or, I miss the adults in kids' lives that actually genuinely cared when a kid fucked up instead
Yeah.
of trying to like just ream their ass and then walk the other way and curse at them being a fucking kid. You know,
Yeah.
I hate that. Like just movies, video games, just music. Back then in general was just great. I mean, I still follow a lot of rock now, and just music was just and everything back then was just so much more authentic, organic. You know,
Everything then was also new.
yeah,
Like Pantera was brand new when we were kids. Tool was new. Metallica was still, I mean, they were around for 10-ish years, but they were still reinventing themselves. They still like kept going and growing. Van Halen was still doing their thing. Like all these bands were still creating new. And then you had all the bands that, we look back on for nostalgia now, like Godsmack and Papa Roach, Seether, Pop Evil, like all these bands going back were new. So now the next generation doesn't know the new that we had. They know overproduced, like basically everything sounds like it came straight from a computer. Like there's no raw energy, there's no passion in music. Like some bands still have it. Some new bands come around and it's like, all right, I could listen to that. You guys know what it is. And then unfortunately, you go back, it's like things were just better. Things were easier, things were more fun. There's better friendships that we had in our lives, better relationships we had in our lives. I talked to my wife, my sister about like having to go call for your friends as a kid. Like you have to go knock on their fucking door and be like, "Hey, can Nick come out to play?"
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
Nick's got chores to do, but maybe in a few hours or like, there was a home life. There was a standard, but it's like if you want to hang out with your friends, you got to either like pick
Get your
up the
shit
phone on the
done.
wall or
Go
you
get
have to
those
go down
fucking
to their
dishes done. Have you
house.
done your homework? Have you done your laundry? Have you put your shit away?
And like, my nephew's just starting to get involved in sports now. So like they last year one was playing baseball, one was playing soccer, and now they're both playing baseball. But like it's such a breath of fresh air to see kids that actually want to do sports. Because
Out,
like
yeah,
when I
outside doing something without something in their fucking hand.
Yeah, dude. Like when I was growing up, like the street was sacred, you know? We were always doing something. We had like football games set up or we had hockey going 24/7,
Dude,
baseball,
I
stickball.
remember the fucking hockey days. My cousin Joey was big into street hockey. He had all the kids come down. Everybody was wearing helmets and elbow pads, and they had the goals. And when a car was coming, the kids had
Yep.
decency to fucking pick up the goals and scoot it out of the way to let people in the neighborhood drive by.
Oh, dude, now
And
little
some people would like roll down the window, and be like, y'all scoring a couple points or what? And they bullshit with the kids like that is non-existent now. You would
No.
never believe that existed now, looking back.
No, we also had respect when we were kids. Like
Fuck yeah!
kids now are assholes. But no, like we would be playing hockey in
Oh
the middle of the
no.
street, dude. And like our mailman would stop and play hockey with us. Like it was a good environment. It was a good neighborhood. And I look back on that fondly because it's not that same way now. When I see kids out in the street like playing hockey or football, like I almost have a tear come to my eye because it's like, all right, they're gonna have what I had. They're gonna have that awesome childhood with their friends. They're gonna look back in 10 years and be like, damn it, man, we had it so good. And that's how every kid should feel. Every kid should grow up knowing that. And like it sucks that so many now are just they have a tablet and that's all they know and they just stare at a screen or they stare at the TV and they learn everything from a TV. It's like you're not learning anything. Like when I was 5, I loved like everything my dad showed me. It was the Eagles, it was Stevie Ray Vaughan. It was like things that a 5-year-old shouldn't really be into, but I was obsessed, dude. I love the Eagles. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. He showed me the Blues Brothers. I love the Blues Brothers. Like, I had a good musical upbringing. I was very well rounded in that sense. I didn't find out about like contemporary rock or metal for years later, but it's just that like I can go to school telling everyone that, I know Hotel California, and my teachers would know what I'm talking about. My classmates wouldn't. They'd be like, "You don't know Britney Spears?" Like,
Oh,
I
you're
don't like
right,
Britney
right.
Spears.
I've been there. Yeah.
But nah, dude, like it's just so different now. It's such a different culture now, and I refuse. If and when I have kids, man, like I will never raise kids the way the kids being raised now. I'm going to raise them the way that I was brought up. I want them to have that kind of life, that experience.
See, and I'll tell you from experience now, 5 years in being a father. I have Disney Plus because, the old VHS Disney collection probably
Hmm.
got destroyed in storage somewhere. We all had it at one point. That was our Disney Plus. And my daughter, she gets on there. She'd rather watch the old Little Mermaid.
Hmm.
When it comes to Winnie the Pooh, she likes watching the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. That's the one where he climbs the tree and gets stuck in the beehive and shit.
Hmm.
Like, like Peter Pan. Like she watches like all the older shit on rerun. And she prefers that. You know what she asked me the other day? She just got hernia surgery. You know what she asked me the other day when we were on our way back from Tampa?
But
She goes, "Daddy, so what, baby?" She said, "Can we go home and cuddle and watch Cat Dog?" Yes, we can. Like, you
you,
know,
dude, protect her at all costs.
she's protecting herself very well. She don't take no shit. I have to get on her ass because there's a difference between defending herself and just being a bitch. And sometimes she could be that way. And me and her mother have to carefully explain to her, these are your do's and these are your don'ts. What did I just tell you? Like, I find myself like, all right, both my parents, they're probably laughing at this point, looking down, going, uh-huh, yep. Like, you're not out of it yet. Now you see. Yep, yep. Okay.
So to circle back a little bit, now you started playing music more, focusing more on music, on like yourself.
Yeah,
I'm assuming at this point, like you realize the things that do's and don'ts, things that you do and don't need in your life, and music was starting to take, I'm assuming, some sort of like priority, right?
gotcha.
That's
I'm sorry. I don't mean to deviate. No, I was
no,
actually
no,
getting
no.
fixing my
It's
first music endeavor in Highlands County.
mm,
So I worked at a place called Yarborough Tire and Service. There was a lead mechanic there named James Albritton. And I started working at Yarborough probably a year after I worked at Tires Plus. It was a better opportunity, more money, whatever. And as I was working there, he's like, "Hey man," he says, "I hear you listen to Metallica all the time." He says, "How do you feel about '90s rock?" I'm like, "I like '90s rock." He's like, "Well, I got a buddy of mine. His name's Alan Broder." This is Kevin Broder's father.
hmm
He's like, yeah, I work on his shit all the time, and he's got this big ass laser light studio type shit with smoke machines, and he's looking to do a show, and his singer he has just keeps crapping out on him. He wants to know if you might be able to audition. I'm like, I play guitar, I don't really sing, but
Hmm.
sure, send me the list of the songs that he's got. I didn't really know exactly what the guy needed. He told me the guy wanted me to try out. I was gonna try to counter offer and be like, I can play rhythm guitar because that's what I'm trying to do.
Hmm.
And it wasn't really like what I wanted, but I'm like, fuck it, let me see, maybe this is fun. Well, the next day he brought me the set list and Pearl Jam, Three Doors Down, what else? Nirvana, Stone Temple Pilots. I'm like, yeah, I grew up listening to this shit. Yeah, yeah, I know these songs.
Hmm.
He's like, all right, well, here's his number. He said to call him if you like what you see. I called him and I'm like, hey man, this is Gordon. Is this Alan? He's like, yeah, 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 yeah. He says, yeah, my mechanic James told me that you're into rock. I said, yeah. He goes, well, if you want, you can come by the studio and maybe we can set you up on the stage. And I'm like, on the stage? What are you talking about? Because I'm like, there's no stages around here. This is fucking Highlands
Right.
County. What are you talking about? Like, there's no rock anything here. I was proven wrong. Um, so he gave me the address. I told my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time, and I said, what do you think? And she's like, yeah, it could be fun. I'm like, all right, cool. So we uh we got in the car. I went to the address. It's way. As a matter of fact, it's just down the road from Sugar Sand Distillery where we're playing
Oh yeah.
Saturday. It is. Uh, and it's Kevin's house. Kevin still lives with his dad and the studio. It looks like when you pull up to the house, it's a nice house. And then to the right, it's just like a basic 3 bedroom, 2 bath concrete home. But to the right, it looks like there's like this big RV type garage looking thing. It's got a big
Mm.
garage door. And I'm like, pulled up. I'm like, hey, and this guy come walking out. He's got long gray hair, glasses, and a black baseball cap. He's like, hey, I'm Alan. Nice to meet you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, hey, I'm Gordon. Nice to meet you. You know. He's like, yeah, come on in. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm thinking going over to this guy's house. I'm going to be playing in a garage, singing on like this little karaoke. That's what I'm thinking I'm going to be put in front of. That was not what this place was at all. I walk in there. The ceiling goes up to 2 stories. It's a 1 story building, but the ceiling goes up to 2 stories. There's tables, there's chairs. The wall to the left, it is nothing but Zakk Wylde, Black Label Society, Ozzy Osbourne, Jake E. Lee, Tony Iommi, Bill Ward, Geezer. Anybody that's ever associated with Ozzy is
Hmm.
on this wall. There's autographed memorabilia, autographed vinyl records, you name it, and it's it's on this wall. To the right, there's Pink Floyd, Boston, just old like 70s classic shit, right?
Hmm.
And there's a stage, there's a drum riser, a drum set, 3 microphones, bass amps to my left, guitar amps to my right, guitars on the wall behind these, hanging up. He goes, yeah, Albritton tells me you can sing. I'm like, Albritton's lying. I didn't say anything about singing. He's like, well, I want to try out and see if I can, I'm looking for a singer for this project I'm doing. He showed you the song list. I said, yeah, I seen the song list. I was gonna see if you needed like a rhythm guitarist or something. And he's like, well, I mean, I'm not opposed to that. He says, because I play lead and I do rhythm. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. He says, yeah, I need somebody to sing these songs. I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll put them on and you can just sing with them. I'm like, all right, cool. So I get on stage and think back to the time I'm in the shower. I start singing these songs. I'm like, all right, yeah, I got it. And then after a couple practices, he got his members together, and it was him, Mike Nichols, and Mike Nichols, Daryl. I don't remember Daryl's last name, but Mike, as he was coming to practice, he's actually the bass player for a band called Crush that's down here, and they do everything. I mean, it's more of like dance kind of rock music, you know, like
Hmm.
typical bar stuff, but they're a really good band. Um, and Mike was getting a ride to and from practices with a man called J.R. Smith. I met JR and we sat down, we talked. I told him my interests, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I love metal." I'm like, "Yeah." And we were really cool, you know. We chit-chatted in between. We would practice some songs, and then we'd take a break. Then we get back on stage, we'd practice. And my singing at first just was not the greatest, but like I would do everything I could to like sound the best I could.
Hmm.
You know, really kind of explore my vocal range. And like when I'd go home, I'd work on certain pitches and stuff. And I come to find out your vocals, it's a muscle.
Hmm.
You gotta exercise it. You know, whether it's the falsetto, fake vocal cords, you know, and that was something I learned because I had never dabbled into that. Well, as we're coming up, there's a show coming up, and you know, we're doing like 12, 13 songs, and they asked like, what other song can we put in there? I'm like, well, I mean, you got the nitty gritty of the '90s. If it was me, I would add Enter Sandman. I'm just saying.
Hmm.
And then they considered it like, yeah, maybe that'd be a cool thing to learn. And Alan was like, yeah, I'll look into the solo. I'll see what it is. I said, but if we do that, I want to play. He goes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I'm like, all right, cool. That was my first, and I remember during the sound check after we agreed to do that during the sound check before practice. That was my first time bringing my amp and the guitar that was gifted to me by my friend Corey Seymour.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, right before me and him stopped hanging out with one another for my birthday, he gifted me an applause. I don't remember the name of it or what specific model it was, but I know the make was applause. It's like a one-off brand. And he gifted me an amp that had multiple different settings on it. And I wish I still had the text message, man, but it he was moving and he moved away for a couple years. And when he was moving, he gave these to me and he said, "This is a gift from me to you." He says, "Man, you got so much passion into doing this rock shit." He says, "Bro, take this fucking guitar and rule the fucking world." That was the text message. And he moved away for a while. And I remember I was a fucking baby. I was like, you know, just the whole time I was just like I've never had somebody do something like that for me.
Yeah.
And after everything I've been through just then, you know,
Right.
and that's where the meaning of like the music and everything just kind of like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna channel all of my bullshit that I've went through into music, and I'm gonna turn it into something positive. Don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it.
Hmm.
That guitar, that amp. I bring it to that rehearsal. And I remember the first time he mic'd up my shit and I turned it on and I just went, "Pew," when you can hear it out in the house and in the seats and in the monitors. I'm just like, and I thought back to that moment when I was at the Uproar tour. I'm like, damn, dude, this is the step in that direction. Holy fuck, this is cool.
It's the
Like,
best feeling, dude.
but
It's the best feeling.
yeah, you know, and I'm just like, I can fucking do this.
Hmm.
I remember the night we played that show, or I'm sorry, the first time we practiced Enter Sandman, it sounded awesome. And my wife was like, yeah, at the end of the night when we left, she goes, that sounded so good. I said, I've never played that with a full band. Like I knew how to sing the song and I knew how to play all the rhythm parts of Enter Sandman, but
Hmm.
I've never done it with a full band. And when we got done practicing, like, dude, I remember my heart was racing. I sat down at the table with my wife that's like out in the crowd. Um, or you know, where people would sit inside that area. You remember seeing the wedding photos of me and my wife
No, I don't
when we
recall.
posted it? Okay, that was a while back. If you go on Covered in Black's older videos, they're old videos. That's
Hmm.
Cosmic Hall. That's the place where
Oh,
I played
okay.
the show with. Yeah. Um,
I'll definitely go take a look
and
when we're done.
yeah, you'll see. It's where I think some of it. I don't want to stop. Bleed for me. Riot by 3 Days Grace. The Am I Evil video was shot on. That was probably my most favorite fucking moment to play that song with them there. But yeah, so I remember sitting down with my wife, and she's like, "That sounded really good." I was like, "I can't wait to do this in front of a crowd." Here comes the night of the show. This is my first band, and most of the show, I stood for a couple songs. Some of the songs I sat down on a stool, like we played Black and Jeremy by Pearl Jam. I sat on a stool for that one, and I'm not the greatest, but I remember Jeremy. I put my heart and soul into it, and my wife said it sounded really, really, really good. And Jeremy's like one of my all-time favorites from Pearl Jam. Um, but then it comes to the point in the show where we get to the second to last song. We're playing "In Bloom" by Nirvana.
Hmm.
I haven't picked up my guitar. The only time I pick up my guitar is for Enter Sandman. Here comes the part for Enter Sandman.
Hmm.
That place had a packed house, and it seats about maybe 200 people.
Oh, wow.
And there was friends and family and people coming in to stand, like stand next to the tables. During the entire show, there was everybody sitting at the tables, like everybody was sitting down. When we played Enter Sandman, everyone got on their feet. Everyone stood up. Everyone was cheering. Everyone was singing every word. And right then and there, when we got done with the show, I walked outside, and of course, I've known Kevin since middle school. So when I was starting to practice at Alan's house and I seen Kevin, I'm like, hey man, I haven't seen you since I moved to Sebring. I didn't know you played guitar. And during one of our breaks, he fucking shredded a solo from fucking Jake E. Lee, and I'm like, I didn't know he played like that, you know. And after we got done with the show, and I told Kevin, I was like, Kevin, you see a lot of people that they love this stuff. I said, dude, how would you feel about doing like a Metallica duet thing with me? He's like, sure, dude, that sounds fun. I'm like, all right. I said we'll have to use, bass and drum backing tracks, which kind of sucked because, we didn't want to do that, but we're in Highlands County. Where are you going to find a drummer and a bass player that's wanting to play nothing but Metallica? They're going to want to play other shit.
Hmm.
Well, at the time when I met Kevin at that moment, he was into bodybuilding. He was into weightlifting. And we did like maybe a couple practices. We did Creeping Death, we did Sad But True, and we were fixing to learn Wherever I May Roam. And after about four practices, I got a text message from him saying that he he wants to focus on weightlifting. Damn it, man. I just got my taste of being in a band, doing Metallica. What the fuck? And then at that point, uh, me and JR, we became like best fucking friends, dude. I'd go over to his house, and um, he lived in a single wide, and he had this one room at the back of the trailer. The fucking ceiling has all sorts of like comics from like Spider-Man and Venom and Marvel and DC, and then on the wall he's got like old insignia from like the late '90s and early 2000s of music and stuff. And yeah, it was cool. We'd go over there and we'd jam a whole bunch of stuff. He'd show me all the stuff he used to record with some of the artists from the early 2000s and late '90s scene in Sebring back when it was big.
Mm.
And he says, "Yeah, that scene kind of just fell off the face of the earth once the recession hit in 2007. Everybody just kind of stopped playing." And I'm like, "Damn, like that stopped people play." Like, yeah, because none of these bars could pay anyone. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. And it stayed that way for a long time, and then people just kind of started to do other things, and the music scene just kind of went away. Because I agree. I think a lot of the bands that were predominant in the early 2000s and '90s, other bands started coming onto the scene, and I guess the bar scenes around here started changing too, because country got really big around 2007 to 2009.
Yeah.
And I think that really, and this is an agricultural town, so that probably is what put the nail in the coffin in that, I guess, so to
Hmm.
say. And so I'm hanging out with JR. We're jamming and this and that. Now, around this time, this is like 2017, 2018.
Hmm.
And me and JR, we were just, we're bullshitting, dude. We're drinking beer, hanging out after work every day, shooting the shit, laughing. I mean, we became really, really good friends, bro. And, you know, he would call and check on me. I'd call and check on him. We'd joke about shit. And then one night we're sitting, we're like, dude, how fucking awesome would it be to really put a badass metal band together? I'm like, it'd be great. And he's like, dude, if we could only get Kevin. I'm like, I would love to have Kevin. I said, but we need a drummer. He goes, I think I know someone, but he's in college right now, and I'm not sure if he's willing to do it. I said, well, what's his name? He said, his name's Kurt Atkins. I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, but he's going to school to do phlebotomy and radiology. I'm like, so I messaged Kurt over and over and over, probably about 3 or 4 times. He didn't message me back. He finally messaged me back when he's like, man, I'm not sure. He says, I've been thinking about it. I ain't gonna lie, but I'm so busy with school right now. I really don't want to try to focus on something and take my attention away from that. And I don't know, man. Last time I was in a band, it really didn't work out. And I'm like, all right, well, if you change your mind, here's my address.
Hmm.
Well, JR would call me, hey man, have you found a drummer yet? I'm like, no, I'm still looking. He'd call me at the end of every week. Hey man, have you found a drummer? Have you found a drummer? And I'm focusing on my own life because me and my wife at the time were moving. We found a house to rent, so we were stepping up from being in an apartment to a house. And I'm doing everything I can to, you know, move up in my own personal life. And then um, there was this one guy I tried out that played drums. His name's Robert. I guess he was one of the very first iterations of any drummer trying out for what eventually would become Covered in Black. And he worked at the prison in Avon Park. And he came out for 2 practices, and then he was just like, "No, man, this really isn't the thing for me." And I got so much going on in my life, and I'm like, "Oh man, all right." Um, then my buddy Dylan Witten, who I went to school with, we went and played at his house, and he was a badass fucking drummer, man. He had, Jesus, dude, he had like 3 floor toms, like 4 upper toms. He had 3 different splashes. I mean, he kind of looked like Alex Van Halen with the shit all the way around him.
That's
I
awesome.
mean, and he loved playing originals. Now, of course, if there was a scene here for that, that'd be great. But he just loved to jam by himself. Well, I called JR and I said, dude, I found this really good guy. You need to come over. All right, man, let me unload, get all my shit from work out of the truck. Throw my shit in there, and then I'll meet you over there. I'm like, all right, cool. He meets me over at the house. We jam for a little bit, and then he messaged me. He goes, listen, man. He says, I would love to jam. He says, it just I'm not a covers type guy. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I get it. I'm not gonna put a gun to your head and force you to do something you don't want to do. But if that's it, man, then that's cool. Whatever. You know. So he fell off. I'm like, damn it, man. So then Kurt messages me and he goes, hey, man. I'm like, what's up, buddy? I said, what you up to? And he says, nothing, bro. He says, is there any way I can come over? I said, absolutely, you can. So he shows up to the house. He has his drum set. Me and him, we bullshit a little bit, get to know each other. He brings his kit in the house. He goes, "You care if I set up and play?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude." He's like, "All right, just give me a minute." So I'm like, "All right." So he's setting up. I grab my amp. I grab my guitar. I'm tuning, and then he goes, "Do you care if I warm up?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "It's gonna be loud." I'm like, "All right." I was not prepared, Matthew. I was not prepared.
Heavy hitter.
He pulls off this fucking Dave Lombardo roll. I have never heard anything like that in my life. And as I'm tuning my guitar, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck did I just get myself into? This is badass. He got done playing, and I'm like, can you hold on one second? He said, I called JR, said, JR, get your ass over here now. He's like, dude, I'm at dinner with my family. I'm like, Kurt's over here. He goes, what? I said, yeah. He goes, all right, well, I'm going to try to collect the check within the next 5 minutes. Keep him there no matter what. And I said, okay, you got it. So I bullshitted with him. JR came over. We jammed for a little bit. But yeah, man, this is fucking great. And then we were like, man, it would be awesome if we can get Kevin to be a part of this. I thought to myself, you know what, maybe we got a chance because now it's not just me. It's, Kevin decided to do his thing. I worked with JR to find a drummer. We got a drummer. The drummer's like, yeah, I guess I can jam with Kevin. And that's when he told me, he says, I used to be in a band with Kevin back in the day, and we were called Black Edge Sanity. I said, really? And he goes, yeah. He says, then we became Hope and Autumn because all four of us were born again Christians, and it was a Christian hard rock band out of Lake Placid. And I'm like, no way. And he's like, yeah, dude, we got a music video on YouTube. I'm like, what? And he started showing me all this stuff, and I'm just like, that's fucking killer. He told me that I guess Kevin and the singer, who was a chick, I guess they were dating. Something went wrong between them two, and split the whole band in half. So, I mean, I guess that's the rule of thumb. You don't date the singer, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, um, so then Kurt, uh, Kurt and Jay, they came over to. Oh, there was a little bit of a hiccup in our personal life. There was a slumlord that I guess used the house we were renting to. She scammed people. She'll let people move in, put them on a month-to-month lease. This was her loophole.
Oh God.
Uh-huh. You already know where I'm going.
Yep.
We left. She kicked us out, gave us a 30-day notice, whatever. We took her to court. We won. And I don't know if she's still scamming people. Lord, I hope not, because I mean that's got to be one of the most fucking evil things. And she took advantage of me and my wife. Hands down, took advantage of me and my wife.
Hmm.
Sorry, I don't mean to poke you in the face there. Sorry. Kevin texted me letting me know that he's got Shelf in the Room by uh Days of the New Learned. That's one of our new additions to our acoustic show. So, but yeah, so speaking of Kevin, we get to our new house and we're like um you know I don't know who's gonna call Kevin, man. We need to get Kevin over here. I called Kevin, I said, dude, what are you doing? He says, playing Xbox right now. I'm like, okay, can you come over for a little bit? He says, I mean, I guess. I'm like, I have a drummer over here and I have a bass player over here. You want to jam for a little bit? Just an hour? And it got to be nothing crazy. He's like, oh, really? I said, yeah, we want to play some metal. And he goes, all right, yeah, let me save my game. I'm coming right over. So he came over and it was in this very room. Kurt set up in that corner. JR was over there in the kitchen with his amp on the stove. I was right here, and I'm sitting in the corner where Kevin was. We set up and we're like, so, what are we doing? I didn't have a microphone, so I just destroyed my voice. What's the bet? Yeah, I didn't have a microphone. I'm gonna fucking sing and people are gonna hear me, goddammit.
Yeah.
um, we picked Enter Sandman. Everyone knew their parts. Everyone knew the starts, the stops, intros, bridges, chorus, verses. We played that song, and there was a small, like 15-second moment of silence where we were just kind of like, we looked at one another and we're like, we got something here. We don't know what it is, but we have something here. We started writing music, and it was every week we'd get together on Friday, and writing music was fun. We had a couple things we were working on. I still remember a handful of riffs that we did at that moment that I plan on fleshing out with the guys I have now. Hopefully, that's what the goal is. Um, And so I forget how the covers thing started. But we were like, why don't we just learn a song instead of trying to like, like we're having fun. Like, let's just learn a song and jam it. And I remember
Hmm.
Kurt saying, Gordon sings the Metallica cool. You guys want to learn another Metallica one? We're like, well, why don't we try just something different? Why don't we try, why don't we try like an Aussie tune? And we're like, all right, let's try an Aussie tune. So Paranoid, I think, was the next one. And then we started looking at Metallica songs, and Am I Evil was the next choice from Enter Sandman. Like, we went straight to that instead of like For Whom the Bell Tolls or something
Right.
else. So, fuck it. We just dove in. I started to learn, JR's like, I got this old PA we can use, and I got an old microphone stand and a microphone you can use. And, you know, then we really started practicing, and man, one song came after the next, came after the next, and we finally got like 9, 10 songs together. We're like, why don't we throw like a barbecue out here or something and like fucking uh do like a friends and family barbecue type deal.
I remember that. I remember you showing me pictures you guys had like set up next to a screen house and like you threw a backyard party and played for everybody.
Yep.
That's very cool.
We invited friends and family over. We did a quick little like warm up rehearsal in the house, then we moved everything outside. As a matter of fact, since I'm right next to it, that right there was Covered in Black's first stage.
Oh, that's awesome.
And where I have my Kia and my Toyota Camry parked, that was the crowd area. And as you can see, I'm on two main roads. So we set up on this front porch and we played. It started with 20, 25 people, friends and family, barbecue.
Hmm.
There's people coming out of the neighborhood on golf carts. There's people pulling over on the side of the road.
It's the most
There
Florida
was an
thing ever, by the
organizer
way.
for a veteran event or a veteran organization here in town that showed up and seen, and she's like, I'm going to see if I can start spreading the word. Well, during this show, we had um, somebody take some videos for us, and then we went to the Sunset Grill and asked if we could play there. And the guy was like, I'm not sure. He said, last time I had a metal band here, they scared everyone off. So I showed him what we had, and I said, listen, we can advertise for you and, you know, put it out there to where people can have a chance to schedule for it instead of just drop of the hat, whatever. And this is when people started utilizing Facebook a lot to start. This is 2018. So
Hmm.
people are starting to utilize Facebook a lot to put their shit out there for other people to see and whatever. And I made sure I grabbed this because I knew this was going to be part of story time. Is it backwards on your end?
Nope. I see
It's
it.
not backwards. Okay.
Nope. That's cool,
Yep.
dude.
This is the very one of the very first. This is the very first flyer for Covered in Black,
That's awesome.
and we made probably about 200 of these and spread them out everywhere. And
So,
we
Gordon,
took pictures of it and put it on each of our personal Facebook pages because we didn't have a Facebook page.
so now I have a question for you.
Sure.
Um, you guys, you jam Enter Sandman, you jam a bunch of songs one night, and you know that you have something there.
Right.
You form Covered in Black, you name it, and you start promoting it. Now I have to ask you, is there any local band scene where you guys are?
Nope.
Nothing. So
There's
what you're doing is essentially inventing the Sebring music scene.
there's a music scene, but they're bar bands.
Hmm.
There's the Voodoo Kings. That's my uncle CJ. Dude is extremely knowledgeable. But they play like Jimi Hendrix, shit like that. There was Hard Candy. They're no longer existent. But the lead singer, Raggedy Ann, Aaron Senna, she's actually playing at the festival this Saturday.
Oh, cool.
So people know her from Hard Candy. Um,
But no like original music scene?
No original music scene, no sir,
Wow.
none. For what Covered in Black was doing here in Highlands County, the only band,
Wow.
the only band of the genre.
That's kind of That's kind of crazy, dude. Because like to hear the different sides of it, right? Like up here, I've told you a lot through the years. I have been very opinionated about cover bands and shit, but with good reason. Because like we have our local scene, and it's awesome. We have a very good, strong scene. But on the other side of that, we are oversaturated with cover bands. Like everyone wants to do something that really, honestly, I feel like doesn't need to be done. I support it if it's a good idea, though. Like what you guys are doing is original. No one has that, like, we're gonna do straight up metal covers. Like, there's bands up here that do, but not great. They don't really worry about the perfection side of it or variant. Like they don't. It's either like Metallica, Slayer, or they do like Godsmack. There's nothing that combines everything. It's nothing for a fun night out that does the whole thing. Um, a few friends of mine last year put a band together. They called the Monster Stage, which is after Warped Tour. They had the metal stage at Warped that they call the Monster Stage. So they do things like Devil Wears Prada and Of Mice and Men and like early, 2003 metalcore shit, which is a great idea. I love that. I'm actually trying to have them on the show soon to talk about it because it's such an original thing out of something that's so it's been done, but not like that. The cover scene here though is very different. Like it's like its own separate monster. We have our original guys, which we have honestly like the musicianship here has grown so tremendously over the years and the respect for musicians has grown so much. But then I go on Facebook and I see shit like I need a drummer for My Chemical Romance cover band. I'm looking to do a Kill Switch
I
Engage
remember
cover
you
band.
sending me a
And I'm
screenshot of
like
something, and I
I'm
was
like,
just like, oh,
dude,
okay.
it's just a thing we don't fucking need. Like
Right, right.
I'd rather go pay to see the actual bands. But if I can go out for a night and hear music that I haven't heard in a long time and have fun doing it and listen to my friends who are having fun doing it, like that's something I can get behind and fully support. Like everything that you've done with Covered in Black, everything that you're doing with Hollow, everything that you're going to be doing with Tone, it's a progression. And it started as like, you're doing the metal covers, you're doing the Metallica shit, you're doing the Godsmack, you're doing like all that era, but then you're doing an acoustic thing, doing kind of the same. And Tone, now you told me you're going to be incorporating originals too, which I'm so excited to hear because
Everyone
I,
is.
I, I mean, as long as I've known you, man, like I know you've been writing, I know that you've been playing your guitar, you're practicing vocals, you're like gearing up for this big thing, and I can't wait to hear what the big thing is. So I'm looking forward to hearing everything you got going. But
Well, I appreciate that, man. I really do.
I really hope that like what you're doing is also lighting like a massive fire for Sebring. Um, and
I hope so too, man.
this festival should be a good thing, and like maybe bars will be more open to what you're doing. Maybe it'll attract some people to be like, oh shit, there's a metal scene here. I didn't know that.
Well, it's funny. I think it's going to kind of play out with my old band and what I have going on being the two acts, that will be in town. Um, it could possibly spark that, but time will have to tell, and we'll just have to see. Because I mean, Sebring, it's a town that's known for like, its openness and good-hearted people, hardworking people, blue collar, um, mom and pop shops, restaurants, retirement home people, and just old retired people that are here to enjoy the rest of their days in tranquility, kind of sort of. Honestly, that's what Highlands County essentially is. But the thing is, there's so many young people Like for myself, I tried moving. It just did not work that way. And God obviously has a bigger, better plan for me staying put right where I'm at. So I've just kind of followed whatever He's got planned for me here. I've put my faith into everything, especially when I was at my lowest point, and He's turned around and give me all of this at the drop of a hat. And I could never be more thankful than I am, honestly. Um, but yeah, getting back to what I was saying, this was our first show. We played here. Then the second show, I think, yeah, the second show was this. It was the Sunset Grill. I love this. I love this photo. This is it. It's so Van Halen-esque. It's not even funny.
That's cool.
And then yeah, that was in October. Oh yeah. So this show right here, the October 14th, it was a 2-hour show. We sold them out of alcohol, and people had to park across the highway to cross the highway where there was no crosswalk just for people to come over and watch.
Wow.
I think we made a point.
Yeah.
Then from there, the Sunset Grill was always nice to us. Then we went, we have all these other flyers made where, let's see, this was back at the Sunset Grill. This was a canceled show that was at the Wild Hog, which was more closer towards the Walmart here in town. We had to cancel that because Kurt sprained his ankle doing some yard work. Um, then after that, we played back at the same place I played with Kevin's dad, Alan Broder. This was our Covered in Black live in concert over at Cosmic Hall. We put all the artists that we cover, what time the doors open, what time the show starts, to please donate at the door, because that's what was helping us out. Then, this is where the big shit starts to happen. Ish. We get a call from Sean Owens. If you've seen on the post, is my lighting all right? Do I need to? There we go. That's better.
It's a little darker, but it's all right.
All right. I don't have any other kind of light, so I may have to move around a little bit, but that's okay.
It's all good. I can still see
Um,
you.
yeah. So, Mr. Sean Owens, him and his wife were featured on episode 2 of the Hometown Takeover Sebring edition. They run this event that's called Project 65.
Okay.
And I definitely want to plug them on this because the whole deal behind Project 65, it's an awareness that every 65 minutes, a veteran commits suicide. And this event is is to help spread awareness about that and that alone. Um,
Are they still operating?
they're planning on doing one more for
Okay.
Sebring. But here's the deal. And now I say one more is like, oh man, that sucks. They're not going to be doing it. That's not the case. Ever since they were featured on episode 2 of the Hometown Takeover,
Hmm.
they have gotten a lot of attention and they are taking this on the road
Oh, really?
nationally. So, super excited to hear that. They're planning on doing one more Project 65 event here in town. And the first time they did it, which was this was the first annual. And we did it right in the middle of downtown Sebring in Circle Park. If you go on Covered in Black's videos, you'll find these videos, and we're playing on like this little small stage with like a little blue black drop. It was the first time any band has ever played Megadeth in public in downtown Sebring. We gladly wear that badge.
That's awesome.
Yeah, everyone loved it. The police, the firefighters. We did War Pigs that day for Black Sabbath. And I remember there was this lady that walked all the way down from the Palms of Sebring, it's like the retirement home in the middle of downtown Sebring. It's this little old lady. She come walking up in her walker. Son, was that Ozzy Osbourne? Yes, ma'am. Son, you did a fantastic job. I used to have to get my kids to not go to his concerts because they were so wild, but that was cool. I really enjoyed that. They're like some 90-year-old geezer, dude. I'm like, what the hell?
Grandma knew
So
what's up, dude.
obviously we're reaching an algorithm we didn't think was going to be entertained by this. From that concert, we get a phone call from Sebring International Raceway. How would you guys like to be part of the entertainment this year? My guy, that felt like the finish line for us because that is like the event you want to be in front of. Hundreds of thousands of people go to that event.
And
And
now
if you're playing right in front of them, you never know what opportunity you're going to get.
this is all within a year, isn't it?
Yes.
So you moved quick with this.
Yeah. I I don't know the only explanation I can really tell you, Matt, and I'm not gonna sit here and thump the Bible over anyone's head here, but I really, really prayed about everything we were doing. I was putting God in front of it all, man. Now, you know, everything happens for a reason, and I'm fixing to iterate that at some point in the story. But, you know, I've never had an achievement chain like this in my life. All the shit that I went through, I get into music and all of a sudden all this shit's happening one after the other. And I'm comparing to all the other bands that I've been told about in Highlands County, and none of them have ever done this. None of them have ever got this opportunity or opportunities, should I say. It's not just one, dude. It was in abundance. Well, I remember it was okay. So after we played Project 65, we didn't really get well, we're gonna pull you in over here. We were offered a spot, but we had to talk to the entertainment coordinator, Miss Elizabeth, who works over at Sebring Raceway. And I finally got her on the phone, and I explained. And I remember I was at Kurt's aunt's house with him, and I had her on speakerphone. And I remember Kurt was painting a picture. This is like one of the best moments, dude. I had her on the phone on speaker, and I sold her it. I was like, listen, you want us to be there. You want us to play the 12 Hours of Sebring on the main stage on the midway. You don't want us in the zoo. You want us on the main area where everyone can see us. And she's like, I absolutely, we would love to have you guys. Is there any way you can schedule to come up to my office and we can, go over some numbers? I'm like, yes, absolutely. Man, shit hits me in the heart every time I think about it. I hung up that phone and Kurt like dropped his paintbrush and like gave me the biggest fucking bear hug. Oh man, dude. Like, cause he was from the music scene in the 90s and 2000s.
Hmm.
He's played at the 12 Hours of Sleep, but he played out in, when I say the zoo is like that's where all the rednecks and everybody kind of camps out. All the people who are fucking on shrooms and weed and, just, and that's where they would set up bands there, but it wasn't professional like what we were offered.
Hmm.
I remember he gave me the biggest fucking bear hug and he's like, dude, we gotta tell the guys. And I'm like, yes, we do. So like I called Kevin and Jay and I put them on speaker like, yo, we're playing the races. And I remember JR going, no fucking way. And Kevin going, yo, really? Sweet. We, it was awesome, dude.
That's awesome,
It
man.
was some good shit.
I'm glad
We played
after.
that show and I had an email set up and I had my phone number on there.
Hmm.
I was the one that booked the shows. I would talk to people. JR would too. But as far as like officially collecting pay, on me. Booking shows, talking to people about future bookings, me. A lot of the social media posts, 99.8%, 99.2% of them, I'll give them the 0.8%. Because sometimes they got on there and said a couple things. Me. Kurt started the Facebook page. Everybody got whatever the fuck it's called, the Grandmaster role, where everybody's Facebook profile has full control over it or whatever.
Hmm.
I would do that. So this way everyone else could just focus on playing, focus on whatever. JR worked on t-shirts, he worked on stickers. He talked to people. Kevin worked on the logo, and Kurt played the drums. Like that was it. And I remember after the first time we played the 12 Hours of Sebring, we got a phone call, or I'm sorry, I got a phone call because it was my phone number. I got a phone call, and it was from Daytona International Speedway. This was 2021. We were offered to play the Wednesday night before the big, before the opening day on Thursday. This was the year Metallica did their the first time they started doing that two separate sets, no repeats.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost dropped the phone because they talked like, you know, um, we're going to put you guys in a hotel, we're going to feed you.
Wow.
Uh,
So you got the full artist treatment out of this.
we weren't going to get paid.
Well,
They were going to make sure we had a place to lay our heads, and we were going to eat and drinks.
still a win. You were still compensated somehow.
Oh, hello! Like that's just something I could put on my fucking repertoire. I got to open for Metallica for the weekend.
Yeah.
I died a happy man, bro. I'm good. I'm straight. I'm straight. I'm good. I remember talking it over with the guys, and JR mentioned something to the tune of if they're not paying us, it's not worth it to walk away from our jobs in order to go for a whole weekend just to play the one night. Come on, Jay. I mean, is anything we could do? I was willing to pull money out of my pocket to pay him for the days that he had to walk away so we could do that.
Yeah. At that point,
Yeah.
you gotta seize the opportunity at that point.
Who knows what doors would have opened after that?
Yeah, really. You
I
really
was
don't
I was
know.
very upset. I was very upset.
I can only
I
imagine.
love JR to death, but that really fucking hurt because I was like, dude, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? A year ago, we were playing on my front porch. Metallica. What are you talking about? It's not worth it if they're not paying us. We get paid playing in town all the time.
Hmm.
What's going to be one weekend where we put gas money together? They're going to feed us and they're going to put us in a hotel. It's
Yeah.
Rockville. There is thousands of people out there.
Opportunities like that, they really don't come around often. It's crazy to even think that you'd have to walk away from that. Um, I mean, at that point, like getting your travel expenses taken care of, getting a hotel and food, like that's a win, you know? Like what's the couple $100 at that point? Go live an experience.
Honestly, I was like, dude, if there's anything, I was trying to think of different things. I was like, look, what about my next pay for the next show? What if I give him that? What if I gave him that plus my cut of the tips that we split four ways? I love JR, but he can be a grump. And I wasn't gonna argue with him over it. So, we're like, fuck it, let's just focus on what we got going on here. Well, then we started playing places like Sugar Sand Distillery. And Mr. Don Davies doesn't like heavy metal played at his place because he likes to, the patronage that goes there likes easygoing stuff. But luckily for us, and for Saturday, I will definitely be getting a mosh pit going because it's a festival that has all genres. And I've showed you the set list.
Yes, sir.
Last couple songs, I'm gonna make sure there's a pit going for sure.
Listen, man, some of that shit that you're
So,
playing, you can't not move.
nope, not those. Not those songs. But yeah, so um after after the 12 hours of Sebring, we got the opportunity to play at the Circle Theater, which was on episode 4 of HGTV's Hometown Remodel. They remodeled that place. Um and we got to play there, and our our flyer for that show was put in a plaque among other people's flyers from like the history of the theater. So our flyer is up there in like the Hall of Fame hallway.
That's cool.
So that's pretty rad. Um and yeah, once we played the Circle Theater, I'm gonna go ahead and say right then that's when things started to Lister. Um Lister. What's that term that they used when the Titanic started to do this?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Um, Kurt fell that night. He had a he had a pinched nerve in his spine, the sciatic nerve. Took out
Oh,
all feeling in his left leg.
sciatic is rough.
Yeah, very, very.
I experienced that a couple of years ago, dude.
Yeah.
I couldn't properly walk for almost a month. It shot my back. My back, my legs, everything felt like it was burning 24/7.
Fuck. That's what he said.
Yeah, it sucks, dude.
Well, he fell that night. We had a packed house. They were just saying $5 gets you two free beer vouchers, and that's it. And we were being paid $400 for 2 hours. That's not bad.
Not bad at all. It's more than I've ever
Not
made.
bad at all. Not bad at all. When Kurt fell and we brought him backstage and he's like, dude, I cannot finish the show. There's no way. He says, I'm in so much fucking pain. I can't do it. Then he collapsed again when the ambulance got there, when it picked him up that night to take him to the hospital.
Oh God.
Um, I remember that's probably one of the shittiest times in my musical career. I walked out in front of a packed house, dude. There's probably, it seats probably about like maybe, probably about 400 people. I would say there's probably a good 300 there that night.
My God, dude.
I walked, it kind of like felt like walking out on the stage of like a House of Blues type deal
Yeah.
to a packed house to tell them that they have, that we're no longer, we're not able to finish the show because the drummer is in very serious medical like issues. And to see every one of those people, like people clapped when we got done,
Mhm.
when I got done saying what I had to say, but I just kept telling them keep watching on the Facebook page, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys at the next show. Biggest problem was Kurt was not taking care of his health like he should have been. For the longest time, he knew that his sciatic nerve was getting bad, but it's because of his health, his weight. And, he kept saying that he was exercising and doing things, and he was going on walks and stuff. I remember that. It was not at the level it needed to be for him to get better. And during his time of not playing, we had Todd, who that's the guy with the face paint and the mohawk.
Mhm.
That's the one that eventually took Kurt's spot. He showed up to help kind of keep practice moving. When Kurt was healed up, he came back to practice, and I found out that no one informed Todd that Kurt was ready to play again. And the way Todd found out was because he ran into, it was either Kevin or JR at Walmart, and he found out that he didn't, his services were no longer required. And I messaged him after I found out about that, and I said, "Listen, man, I'm sorry. That is so fucking shitty." I said, Had I known Kurt was ready to come back," he said, "I was under the impression you were told right away." He's like, "Oh, I didn't know until I ran into Kevin or Jay or I forget. It was one of those two. I'm not trying to fucking make up any kind of stories here. I'm just trying to go off of what I remember." And I thought to myself, I'm like, dude, that's so shitty. I said, you know what, Todd, if you ever want to jam, dude, just let me know. Well, Todd was fixing to start his own band here in town called Noise Haven,
Mhm.
and they were going to cover some stuff. They had they were going to do some like punk rock, a
Oh,
little bit
cool.
of Green Day, a little bit of Offspring, Deftones. um, you know, Corn,
So a
and
little bit of everything then.
yeah, I mean, it was like they were covering songs like Faith,
Oh,
which
okay.
I guess is a cover by Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit, that's like their cover of another song.
Yeah, George Michael cover.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, they were doing shit like, which is cool because it was different, and they called their project Noise Haven. Well, that fell off the face of the earth after when Kurt returned during practice. We were trying to practice for a couple different things we had coming up. We had the second year of the 12 Hours of Sebring coming up. It was our second time playing there because they wanted us back. We had a couple different gigs in town. We were debating like, damn, dude, this kind of sucks. Like, he's playing fast for the songs he doesn't want to play. The tempo's not right. He's acting funny. And me, Jay, and Kevin were just kind of like in a conundrum. Like, dude, this sucks. What the fuck are we gonna do, man? Like, this is really kind of like starting to like dip into the quality of the band.
Yeah.
Well, we had a show planned at Tabby's Bar and Grill in Lake Placid. I'm sure you've seen when I was in Covered in Black when we played at Tabby's. Tabby's was like home base.
Yep.
We get to Tabby's. We play from 8 to 11. It's 6:45. Sound check is at 7:15. Um, I go to Dollar General because I need some, uh, what was it? I was either getting a drink to have, like water or something to have with me while I'm singing,
Hmm.
or I think I was getting my wife a drink or something, and I get a phone call and it's Kurt. I'm like, what's going on, man? He goes, hey, man, you got to cancel the gig. Got to cancel the gig, man. You got to cancel the gig. I'm like, what are you talking about? Cancel the gig. He said his whole trailer that he's living in is flooded. Okay. So I called Kevin. I'm like, Kevin, you have about an hour till I'm supposed to play. Can you swing by Kurt's house and see if he's all right? He goes, yeah, what's the matter? I said, he says to cancel the gig. Something's wrong. He goes, what? I said, yeah. He drives out there. Apparently, the wax ring for a toilet, something got fucked up with it or something,
Yeah.
and it flooded the entire inside of the trailer he was staying in. Well, he was staying in a trailer at his mom's house, and his mom and his stepdad was trying to calm him down because Kurt was like freaking out. Well, Kevin went over there and he's looking and he's like trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Kevin's like, "Yeah, man, I don't know, man. It's not looking good because he's like he keeps talking real fast and his house is flooded." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, but I don't see us doing the gig tonight." We advertised for this and we have the 12 Hours of Sebring coming up.
Hmm.
So I get off the phone, I go up to Jay and I'm like, "We're not gonna be able to play tonight." And I distinctively remember Kurt or Jay sitting in the seat, sitting at one of the chairs outside on the patio, and he looks at me and he just goes, "Figured as much." And I remember the practice before Tabby's, like every one of us would like we seen how Kurt was acting. It was starting to dip into the quality, and that's what we were afraid of losing
Hmm.
because we were at such a high note. Well, we walked up to Daryl, who's the owner of Tabby's, and we told him, and he was understanding. He's like, "Hey, shit happens, whatever. Just give me a call. We'll try to get something else going." Well, then we loaded everything back up in the van, the gear. We went to the studio to unload it. Kevin showed up, kind of all sat down. We stared at the wall for a good 5 minutes, not a word. And then we were like, what do we do? How do we handle this? And we weighed everything, man. And there's been a couple times, like at some point, we thought about cutting Kurt just because of his habits. Because his habits for the longest time, me and Kevin, me and Kevin would be setting up his kit. He has nerve problems, he has back problems and this and that. But again, that goes hand in hand with you need to better your health because we're starting to pick up momentum as a band. You got to start taking care of yourself.
Hmm.
Curtis was not meeting what was needed. And that's all that can be said about that. And me and Kurt talked after we had a bad falling out over him being let go, but we talked since then, and he's like, "Yeah, I know you guys were setting up my kit, and I should have been a little bit more on that." But as we're sitting there after all that shit went down, we kind of look at one another and we're like, "What do we do?" And it's like we kind of all knew what needed to be done, but we did not want to make that choice.
That's a hard choice to make.
That's a very hard choice to make, and our hand was absolutely forced. Because it's like, honestly, and looking in hindsight, covered in black is me,
Hmm.
Kevin Broder, J.R. Smith, Curtis Atkins. Plain and fucking simple. This is covered in black.
Hmm.
The current iteration, I could give a fuck less what my next comment says about this. It's not the same. It will
Yeah.
never be the same. It is a former fucking shell of itself. I love my brothers because we did things no other bands will do. But covered in black is me, Kevin, J.R. Smith, and Curtis Atkins.
So now I know that there was I'm assuming at this point like you're heading towards the back end of what Covered in Black was. I know that you had some things going on in your personal life that kind of removed you from the band a little bit and
Well, okay, so yeah, we cut Kurt. We called Todd Snow and we said, "Hey man, we need your help. We're probably going to disband, but we still have the 12 hours of Sebring. We want to at least get through that." He says, "I can help." He says, "But I'm gonna be blunt. If I'm coming to play, I'm coming to play." He says, "We're not going to do this shit where I'm going to practice for the 12 hours of Sebring. Kurt's going to get better, and then that's it." I said, "Dude, we just let him go because there were some personal issues that just really royally screwed us." He says, "I got you." Well, we played the 2022 12 hours of Sebring. No, the 2023 12 hours of Sebring. I'm sorry. Then from there, we got an offer to play in Tampa at the Brass Mug, which is a big club over in Tampa. Alice Cooper's played on that stage. Powerman 5000's played on that stage. If you look it up on YouTube, the Brass Mug, there's a list of fucking people that have played there that you and I both know growing up. So we played. That was our first time playing in Tampa, and that was big. And Todd, joining the group, it's like all of a sudden, damn, all right, let's do it. But it's because we put on such a great performance that we captured some. His name's Dalton. He's the singer of Love Pit over here in Florida, and he turned us over to Christina Osment of Osment Rock Rage Radio, and through her, she put us into the Brass Mug. It was just kind of it was an exposure event, and then from there, Kevin was able to make some contacts, I guess, through Facebook, and he was able to get a hold of somebody that ran Area 142 over in Cocoa Beach on the coast. Um, and he was able to hook us up with opening up for Josie Scott, the original singer of Saliva.
Very cool.
And of course, we get there. We I remember we got pulled from the lineup because it was raining. And I remember me and my wife, we ate at the restaurant right across the way from the venue. And I don't know, dude, it's almost like I seen everything kind of coming. Because I asked my wife, I was like, I can't explain it, but I feel like this is not like I'm supposed to be doing music,
Yeah.
but I feel like this is not where I need to be. And it's the weirdest thing. I said, that kind of sucks because I love what I'm doing. And she's like, well, only time's gonna tell. And it sure fucking did. That night we didn't get to play. Met Josie Scott, coolest fucking rock star I've ever had the chance to meet. I met Sully Erna back in 2014. Yeah, I met him backstage at the Uproar tour. I was on my way to the bathroom and I was able to see the little gate where they keep all the like the sheet up where you can't see the stars and the gate was open. I'm like, Soleil! And he started walking up to me. I'm like, no way. He see me say hi. I shook his hand. He's the same height as I am. I didn't know he was short. It was kind of funny, but nah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
cool.
a tiny little dude from Boston.
But yeah, so Josie Scott was cool. There's a video on YouTube when he's playing the song Always. I have Raina on my shoulders. I'm on the front row, and he's like doing this to Raina during the second verse, and I'm like trying to like sneak through the crowd to get to the front row, and I got my fist up. He gives me a fist bump, and he's like messing with her hair and shit while he's singing. It was cool. Proud dad moment. Um, but we got done with Saliva. We came back. We had a couple shows lined up. A lot of things that were going on in my life at the time that I kept off the surface for that I didn't want anyone kind of seeing or knowing about. There was a lot of mental shit I was going through.
Yeah, dude. Like, um, you got to keep personal life personal. You can't always air that shit out. It's no one else's business, you know?
Exactly, and I didn't want that to I didn't want that to contaminate the band. So a lot of things I kept bottled up. Um, me and my wife, we weren't doing too good. I wasn't spending enough time with her. I wasn't spending enough time with Raina, my daughter. There were some shit choices that I was making. I could have made a lot better. Um, you know, and just everything all at once, dude. My dad dying, my aunt offering us up to move to Ocala, and I've been wanting to do that for years,
Hmm.
since before I started working for my current job now, like 2015 when I first met Brianna. We planned, we were talking about moving up to Ocala ever since we went and visited, and I had okay, so all the family I told you that passed away, like
Yeah.
a lot of them passed away up there, but like it wasn't even that. That's where I had like the best memories of my childhood. I mean, it's the national forest. There's trails up there. I like doing dirt bikes and ATVs and shit.
Hmm.
I like hunting, I'm all that shit. And I wanted to be closer to that. And I figured, fuck it, if I could still be covered in black, maybe I can try to stretch us up there. But there was just a lot of shit, dude. Me and my wife, we were working on things and we got into a real rough patch. Um, my dad died, and my aunt offered to move us. So like, and I almost checked into therapy. Like it was bad. And I came to the guys and I said, listen, August 12th is going to be my last time playing with you guys, and I really, really hate to do it like this, but and I remember the text message between me and Kevin. It's like, it's a bittersweet thing. He says, "Man, I really hope this works out. I really hope you can still be in the band in some way, shape, or form." I said, "I don't want to leave." I said, "But this is something I have to do, man. I have to fix myself. I have to unfuck my head and unfuck my life,
Hmm.
you know?" And yeah, so and I told him, I said, "Listen, I told all of them, I love you guys to death. I don't want to go anywhere." I said, but right now I cannot be in Covered in Black. I have to work on some personal shit. I have to reevaluate myself and who I am, whether it's marital issues, my mentality, my family, just everything, my life in general. I have to fix this. There is shit on the surface. You guys, all you see is what's on the surface, should I say. It's under the
Right.
surface you don't see, and I have to fix that because I don't want it to fuck with you guys. And, I said, if there's any possible way for me to make it work, I'll do so. I don't give a fuck if I live 2.5, 3 hours away. I will make the trip to practice with you guys. This fucking project means the world to me because I worked so hard for it,
Right.
because I met you guys and we've done everything we've done together. I don't want to give this up, but you guys have to understand I need this. Kevin suggested, well, why don't we just write originals and focus on that? And it's under my assumption that the guys they still wanted to get out and make money. And I get it, whatever.
Yeah, why not? If you have it,
You know,
don't
yeah,
lose
and
it.
I get that. And I said, your best bet for right now is to find another singer. I don't want it to be like this forever, but this is your best bet at this point. So I remember JR saying through text, I hope it's for the best and hope you're making the right choice, this and that. I'm like, yeah, well, I gotta fix me. And if I'm not good, you guys won't be. So so I left. Um, that show, I'll never forget it. All the fans, they kind of seen I was like really sluggish. I was kind of moving around, I was very depressed. Um, I gave it my all that night. I did. I tried to give them the best version of Gordon from Covered in Black that they would ever come see.
Hmm.
And we packed BC Billiards that night. The last song we played was Did My Time by Korn. And that chorus stuck with me all night. I remember looking over at my wife and seeing tears roll down her eyes as I was going into the final chorus. And, you know, sorry, bro, it was it was
I
a good
get it.
moment.
I definitely
It
get it.
sucked. It really, looking back now, even just reliving the moment, thinking of it in my head, like that really fucking sucked. I remember I just fucking dropped the microphone on the floor after the song, and I was just staring at my amp and the lights and everything I worked for, bro. It's just like this really fucking sucks.
You know, something like that, dude. It's hard enough to to build something up to that point and see the success of it and then feel like something's off because you could always diagnose if something's off. But to know the best choice for you is to step away from it. I don't know many people that can do that. I know I sure as hell can't. I never had the strength to be like, I'm in an environment that is doing harm to me, it's doing harm to my personal life, but it's
And
best
I
for
kind
me
of
to
felt
remove it.
like that was like the atmosphere. I didn't see it myself. My wife did. I
Yeah.
was a total dickhead, dude. I was an asshole. I would just fucking blatantly, what the fuck? Like I would get bad. I didn't even see it was bad. I thought there was no problem. I thought I'm being me. Nope.
You
Nope.
know, I when we first started talking, it was back when I was in Logan's room.
Yep.
Which
I remember that.
I it grew to be a very toxic situation for a lot of reasons. One, it was when we started, it was rock shows, it was small little clubs. Like the furthest we would go is Brooklyn, which from where I am is like an hour. It's not very far. But then we started going into Queens, which is a little further. We never made it into New York City. We were on the cusp, but it's is what it is. The more shows we played, though, the more practice that had to get done because now this was waking something in me that I didn't know was there. It was waking up a side of perfection that I'm like, we have to be perfect. We have to be well
Yeah.
rehearsed. We have to be like on our shit because if we're not, then what are we doing? It was the only time in my life that I was in a band where I was like, this has the potential to be something huge. And not everyone was on the same page as me. So I found myself kind of killing myself, and I was extremely stressed all the time. Like it was one of the reasons that I ended up on blood pressure meds because I was always like, and I didn't see
You
it.
got me beat there. I've never had to go through that much, but
Well, it was. I don't want to badmouth the guys in the band because they did work, but they were on a more relaxed schedule of working for the band, whereas I let it consume every minute of every day. And it wasn't until Rosalie, my wife, pointed it out to me, said that, like, this is something that is consuming you. It's not healthy. The environment that you're in is not the best for you. And, I'm seeing what it's doing to you. I don't think you're seeing what it's doing to you. And I didn't
You
realize
know,
how I was being a dick to her. I was being a dick to everybody. I didn't see it, but everyone else called me on my shit. And one of the better things to happen for me personally was to just face this head on and be like, because there was a point where we didn't play a lot. Like we rehearsed every single week, but we didn't rehearse really anymore. Went through a couple different situations with a couple different drummers, which I'll tell you offline because that's a whole shit show. But there was a night I was at a concert seeing the band Avatar. I don't know if you know them. They're like a melodic
I
death
know who
metal band.
Avatar is. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I
I
know
was
who
seeing
Avatar is.
them. They're one of my favorite bands, dude. But the whole time I'm at this show, I'm thinking it's because of this band that I saw a new side for Logan's Room. It's because of them that I saw like we can do something different and still make it work because we were doing something that no one else on the island was doing. So I'm sitting there watching them and I still feel this inspiration that I always feel when I watch them, but I was getting sad. And I texted my guys and I said, "Hey, listen, I think that we got to shit or get off the pot. Like, I don't know what's going on with this group.
Right,
I don't
right,
know I don't know why we're not working the way we were working. I don't know what's going on, but like if it's not working, we gotta say like it's not working." And then I would say within a week, my singer texted everybody saying that he can't be in it anymore. And from there, it's like, well, okay, do we continue without Jordan? And the obvious answer is no, we can't. Jordan started the band. He started it in his brother Logan's room, which is why it's called Logan's Room. The whole
right.
thing is his baby. So we can't take that and run with it with a new singer. We can't replace him temporarily while he figures his shit out. The only option is to disband. And it was something that it broke my fucking heart in the moment. It shattered me because I was like, this is something at that point I had put years into. Like we started working together 2014. I think, yeah, late 2014. And here we are like 3 years later and it crumbled. And
Yeah,
I didn't see it, but Rosalie saw it and she's like, I think now's a really good time for you to just collect yourself because what you just went
take a
through
break.
for the last few
Yep.
years, it drove you to a point where you shouldn't have been at. And I thank her all the time for helping me through, I mean, really every rough patch I have in my life, but just like being there and being the voice of reason, the one to be like, hey, listen, I love you, but you're being a fucking asshole, and I gotta tell you because I love you. Like, it's a good balance. And we never
Yeah,
realize, when we got a head full of steam, we don't realize what we're doing or who we're affecting. We just think this is only the band. This is the band talk. And we don't know how much larger it's spreading.
right.
So it's
And
I could relate is what I was saying to you.
oh, for sure. And it's funny you say that how you had Rosalie. And that's awesome. You got a support system like her, dude. Because behind every good, hardworking man who is successful is a very you know hard woman who uses her heart and her ambitions. And even though she might seem like a bitch, she's really trying to push you in the right direction. My wife told me probably two or three times during my time in Covered in Black, I think you need to take a break. You guys need a break because you need to reform because there was hiccups here and there. No band's perfect. There was hiccups here and there with Kurt, with JR trying to start VC Billiards, Kevin when he had his first daughter Lily. There's just like maybe we should just take a break. And it's like no, why would we need to take a break when we're doing so good? It's you're not seeing it, buddy. You're not understanding what other people are telling me from the outside. But you know what? If you guys feel like we all need to keep moving forward, let's keep moving forward. More
Hmm.
power to you. But my wife asked me to take a couple breaks a couple times, and you know, I guarantee if I did, think things probably be different now. But you know what? I'm kind of happy the way things have turned out because I'm in such a better spot right now. I really, really am, dude. Um. Anyway, so yeah, so I leave Covered in Black. 2 months go by. I finally figure out all my shit. Me and my wife work on our problems. It's a blessing. The Lord gave me 2 months and I'm good now. Woo, you know? It's not like I have to it's not like I have to go through a whole year of therapy, you know, reorganize my whole life. I got my shit together. I didn't know how long it was going to take. It took
Right.
it took a very small amount of time. I said, you know what? And I made sure my wife was good with it first because I always try to make sure she has her say so in things. There's some things I'm just gonna do regardless. She knows that, but I'll never go to a point where it's just like I'll like royally fuck up everything and not console my wife. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, so I'm like, I mean, is it cool that I can try this again? She goes, she's like, you're a lot better than what you were. Maybe we can give this another try and see what we can do musically. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. As long as I have your blessing, because honestly, it's just me and you and our daughter and everyone else's accessory. That's kind of how that's the rule we go by,
Yeah, man.
you know? And so I messaged Kevin and I said, hey, bud, what are the odds of me being able to come back and jam with you guys, man? I'm a lot better now. Schedule's amazing. He said, "Well, it's not fully on me. I'm down with it, but it's got to be a group choice. So let me talk to the guys and see what's going on." I get a text back later, and he's like, "Well, we haven't heard back from JR, but me and Todd hopped into the group chat. Um, this guy Cam that showed up, you know, he's worked pretty diligently to." Fill the role because he quit smoking his vape pen and he's doing everything he can to, you know, um, fill the part. He's worked pretty hard at it, and honestly, dude, he's like nothing against you at all, but we feel like Cam deserves his chance because he's worked so hard at it because we have a show coming up. Okay, that's fair. I did say find a singer. You know, um, I didn't know if I was going to be back, but I explained my love for this, and
Hmm.
you guys. I mean, Todd's been around for almost a year, but you and JR know how much I've done, invested, put off in order to put Covered in Black first. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to be hostile about it. All right, if that's it, that's it. A week later, I get a text. It's from Kevin. Hey man, so the subject of you not moving came up at practice. I'm like, yeah. And he says, um, Cam was like, well, wait, why doesn't Gordon come back and help sing? There's some songs he does that's way better. And I thought it might be a great idea. Um, but maybe you can come back and play rhythm guitar and co-vocals or backup vocals and maybe trade off on some lead stuff, maybe some easier lead stuff and you know, uh see how you feel about it. And I'm like, Covered in Black was born in my house. We all worked very hard to bring it to the level it was.
Hmm.
I asked to return to the role that I had. I'm not knocking Cam for working hard and diligently, but he's not the one that has been heart and soul trying to start a band. I get from their perspective why they want to keep Cam at that moment.
Right.
But then I don't think I said anything to that text right away. Me and my wife, we went and visited BC Billiards that night, and I seen Kevin and I seen Jay. And I asked Jay, is it cool if, I come up to your guys' show? And he says, why not? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know if it was going to be weird or not because I'm not the singer anymore. And he says, well, how about, and he goes, and he kind of just, never mind, never mind. I'm like, what? And he goes, No, nothing, nothing. Kevin's right there. I leave.
Hmm.
Kevin texts me the next day. He goes, "What JR was going to say was, how do you feel about coming back and just playing rhythm guitar and being a backup vocalist?" JR knows me.
Yeah.
He knows how I feel about Covered in Black, how much it means to me. So I think he kind of knew how I was going to respond to that right then and there.
Hmm.
I think he kind of knew I was going to be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like he didn't want me to blow up right there because he knew that that's probably what was going to happen, which is why he shut his mouth.
Hmm.
Jay, if you listen to this later, I love you to death, but no, absolutely not. And that goes right back into the text message that Kevin was saying that, if you want to come back, we're all game for it. Cam's even game for it. If you want to come back and do rhythm guitar backup vocals. I said, let me talk to each of you. I talked to Todd, and I told Todd, I said, listen, dude, I'm just way more fucking humble than I ever have been. Had to get my P's and Q's in a row, and I really want to come back and do what I've always done. He goes, well, look at it this way. It's a humbling opportunity for you to come back and play, rhythm guitar and do backup vocals and help sing with Cam. I love Todd to death. Me and him joke quite a lot, and we're great when it comes to being in the room together. But I thought I've already kind of explained to Todd one night after practice how much Covered in Black meant to me and how much effort that I put into it. I'm not saying the other guys didn't put in effort. I'm not
Hmm.
saying that at all. I remember diligently doing what I had to do, almost losing, like I was doing shit on the clock that I shouldn't have been, passing out flyers when I should have been picking up trash in downtown, you know.
Right.
I could have lost my job,
The
you
hustle,
know.
the hustle don't sleep, dude.
It doesn't. You're absolutely right. Booking shows, continuously calling people back, bugging the shit out of people to book us. And then I called Cam. Me and Cam spoke on the phone. And he's like, "Hey man, I'm a big fan of you, dude. You're a badass motherfucker." And I'm thinking to myself, "Okay, all right, well let's get to the nitty gritty. So what's this deal about me coming back and helping sing?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, you do the Metallica really badass, but bro, on the heavier shit, I got you beat all day long.
Hmm.
Listen, listen. If you put Yngwie Malmsteen, Eddie Van Halen, Joe Satriani in the same room, I'm sure there's one person or two people or different perspective on who is better than who. I guarantee you'll never see them say that to one another because true musicianship, you build one another up.
Yeah.
You don't
You never let your ego show that strong.
that when he said that to me over the phone, right then and there, I told me I was like, this is not the role for you. If they want you there to sing, go have fun. But and that's just what I said in my head when he said that. I'm just like, why would you say that? Why would you tell me that when I'm calling to ask about this?
Yeah, that's kind of a dick move,
I
honestly.
said, all right, Cam, I'll tell you what, because I explained everything, and I said, dude, I really want to come back. He's like, oh, I get it, man. It's a pride thing. I understand. And I was like, it's not a pride thing. I take pride in my work, but to me, Covered in Black goes so much deeper than that. You
Yeah.
will never know because you were asked to fill what they needed to play.
Hmm.
And honestly, at Covered in Black is no longer my problem. I have a history with them. There was a golden age or a high point, but I couldn't see myself getting up there singing Metallica. And what is he gonna do? Just stand there?
Yeah.
That's not fair to him. That's not fair to me. And me, everyone knows I sling my hair in a circle like I like doing the windmill. I like banging my head. I like the hair helps when you're in a metal band.
Sure
It
does, dude.
adds. It gives it character.
Dude, the day I cut my hair, I almost cried.
And I'm thinking to myself like the whole time I'm going, So I'm supposed to just stand behind Cam while he does what he does. And I know Cam was, I guess he was a karaoke singer at one point. And still to this date, I just went and seen Covered in Black because they just did a bike thing. I'm sure you've seen it on Facebook or whatever. There was a bike night at BC Billiards here in Sebring, and he's reading from his phone as he's performing.
Mm. So, that's something that leaves a bad taste in my mouth no matter what band. Cover band, original band, church band, doesn't matter. Don't read from your fucking phone, dude. That's the most unprofessional shit.
I'm really not trying to dig at Cam because I'll give him, he can sing. I will give him that all day long. And I'm sure he wasn't told about the message that I left on the dry erase board in the practice room because I left a very heartfelt message. I thanked each and every member. I thank JR for being my brother and helping me start something amazing in this town. I thank Kevin for answering the call to being the lead guitarist for something special that we had planned. I thank Todd for saving the band from implosion when we didn't want to, but we let Kurt go because of his problems. And I left a little note and I said, my gift to the next front man is this microphone and this microphone stand to somebody who owns the role.
Hmm.
I'm being as transparent and as loose as I can be about it.
Hmm.
And if any one of the guys listens to this, I love each and every one of you guys. Cam, I appreciate you showing up to keep Covered in Black going. But, the final nail in the coffin for me with them, Kevin, I've never had any problems with.
Hmm.
He checked on me when I was outside of Covered in Black after I left, continuously. How you doing? How's Raina? How's Brianna? How's house hunting going? How's your job? Hey man, do you want to hang out if you're ever still in Sebring?
Hmm.
Consistent.
Yeah.
And I've known Kevin since 2007, 2006.
Yeah, long time.
Long time. We've middle school. Before I knew he knew how to play guitar at the time we were friends back then.
Hmm.
I remember after the phone call with Cam, I called JR and I said, "Hey man," I said, "So what's this deal about me coming back to do backup vocals?" And he goes, "Yeah, well, I wasn't there for the conversation at practice that they were saying that they brought up the fact that you're not moving, but that's pretty much it, man. We just, you know, that's the idea, man. I mean, you come back, you play the Metallica, you do your thing, and then Cam gets up, he sings his stuff, and you're able to play rhythm and maybe play some of the lead stuff with Kevin, And I'm like, Jay, I can't do that. I said, dude, you should know. Me and you are like the Lars Ulrich and the James Hetfield of the operation. You should know. I'm not going to do that. I'm
Right.
not going to do that. I can't do that. I respectfully decline.
Hmm.
And he's like, well, I kind of figured that was the case, but just know, man, we need you. We need you, man. I remember that on the phone. He's like, we need you. No, you need my rhythm guitar because you need a full sound.
Hmm.
Cam doesn't play rhythm guitar. He just sings. He dabbles. I've heard he
Right.
dabbles on guitar, but it's not to the level that I possess when I was in Covered in Black and the songs we were covering. Um, and then I asked Jay, I told him, I was like, well, dude, I said, I know I fucked up by walking away, but I needed to, dude. Like, you got to understand that.
Hmm.
And I said, I give a fuck about what the situation is now. I want to come home. That's what I told him, bro.
Right.
I said I wanted to come home.
You have every right to go home too, dude. That's what you started in your house, you know?
Thank you.
That's like what I was saying
Hello.
before about replacing Jordan and Logan's room. You can't do it because it's his baby.
You know how many people I've ran into since I've started Hollow Point with Kevin who have ran into me and said, dude, you were that band.
I'm sure dozens.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and hop on my own high horse and suck my own dick here, but I know what I did for that band. I know what hard work I did. I know how I put myself off. I know how I sold that band. I know I booked the shows. I would talk to people. I would hype people up about us. I would bring them in.
Yep.
I'd bring people to shows.
You worked.
I did. I didn't have to.
You're right.
We get to the end of the phone call. I say, Jay, I want to come home. He's like, well, I understand. He says, well, I can't just do that, Gordon. I said, I get it. He says, Cam's my friend. I don't want to run him off. Cam is your friend, and you don't want to run him off. Who the fuck have I been the last 6 years of your life? Sorry, not sorry. And if you're seeing this, Jay, that really fucking hurt, dude. You want to talk about it being weird? That's weird.
Yeah.
JR and his whole family became part of my family. I still live a mile down the road from him. Every Friday and Saturday night, he would be over here.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be drinking beer. He quit drinking. That's fine, whatever. He started working and running the business at BC Billiards. And if it wasn't for Covered in Black, I never seen JR again.
Yeah.
I get you're running a business. I get it, dude. You're living. You're surviving.
Mm-hmm.
But before BC Billiards, every Friday and Saturday night, he's here. We'd stay up late till like 3 o'clock in the morning on this TV, watching people ghost hunting at some of the local abandoned buildings here. We'd sit there and talk about aliens in the sky and the possibility of flat Earth just or how about the times that we always went over to we went back over to Cosmic Hall for other people's shows, and the night me and him got stupid drunk and my wife was so mad and we were giggling the whole time. He ate a whole fucking Publix sandwich and threw it up all over the back seat and right down my wife's hair as she's driving the car.
Oh no.
Bro, I have I have receipts. We were tight, my guy.
Yeah.
Tight. And the moment he hit me with that shit over the phone, it all changed.
Yeah.
And it hurt.
In that moment, you can go one of two ways, though, right? You can keep doing what you're doing, which is working for you, making sure that your headspace is still clear, or you can collapse into what would have been, you know?
I did both. It's awesome you bring that up because I did both. I remember after that phone call, they had a show coming up and it was their third show with Cam. And I go to sit down at that show. Well, it's my first time seeing Cam in person. Cam comes up to me after the first set. He shakes my hand. I shake his. I'm cordial. I'm not going to be a dick. And he says, hey, man, I needed to come talk to the man of the room. I'm like, what do you mean, man of the room? I'll never forget that. I don't know like why well, because I was seeing everybody. I was like, fucking walking up to the bar and getting a beer. I'm watching the music. I'm watching my band. I want to see what it's become since I left.
Right.
And Cam asked me, he goes, oh man, what do you do to like engage the crowd? How do you like get them going? I don't know how to explain this to you, but for me, it happens naturally. It's like explaining breathing. I can't just tell you how to do it,
Yeah.
and being a front man is not for everyone. I'm not saying that Cam isn't a front man because he's the front man of Covered in Black. But, I don't have any kind of secrets or anything I could just give to you that'll help make you a better performer. For
Right.
me, it just happened naturally. I didn't know I could be a front man.
No, in your case, it happened completely by accident.
Exactly. I didn't even think about it like that. That's right. I guess it did. Hmm. Never thought of it like that. But, Um, yeah, so I remember that night after the second set, I pulled Kevin to the side and I asked, I said, dude, do you at least want to do some kind of like acoustic stuff with me? Because I don't want to stop playing with you.
Hmm.
And he says, well, I'll have to see, man, because I'm not sure, you know. Um, I'm like, I asked him, I was like, all right, so are you guys like set with Cam? This is your third show with him. Like, are you? He's like, yeah, I mean, we're kind of set with him right now, man. I mean, this is kind of where we're going. And I remember right before the end of the break, because they played three sets. After their second set, it was getting close to the end of the break, and me and Brianna were leaving, and we're giving everybody, all of our fans, hugs, high fives, whatever. And I look back and I see JR, hanging out at the table in the backyard of the BC Billiards, and I'm on the sidewalk heading to the parking lot. And, it felt surreal being on that side of the fence.
Hmm.
I've just been like, dude, why have why am I not back over there? Like what is stopping them from saying, fuck, dude, Gordon's back, like, and he's better, like, let's see what he's talking about when he says he's better. I didn't even get that benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And it hurt, man, because we were so fucking tight. And I thought we were a lot closer. Namely, just JR and I. Me and Kevin have been great, dude. We've throughout everything.
Yeah.
And Kevin has said his piece. Kevin has said his piece about me trying to come back. Kevin said his piece before Cam was chosen as the singer. Maybe Gordon's right. We should try to let him at least try to make it work. I don't know who opposed Kevin and said, nope, we're gonna try all these other people. But you know what? I know the next day when I got home, I sat out on the porch and then just all the emotions hit me at one time, dude. I just fucking bawled my eyes out. I was like, yeah, it was so touching because my daughter come up and she's consoling me, man. I mean, she's so sweet, dude. I love my daughter to death. She's my world. And she come up and she tells me, Daddy, it's okay. You'll do rock and roll again one day. And that shit hit me like a ton of bricks, bro. So I let a couple days go by. I don't even think about music, you know. I'm telling, it means a lot to me now. I'm not lying that. All right. And I was like, man, there's got to be something. Like there's got to be something. And I'm at where I was working at the time. I had a lot of downtime at work, so I put on my fucking thinking cap, got up off the ground, dusted off, and just started making phone calls. Took every lead I could. Used my wife put a post on Facebook saying that, my husband, who's the former frontman of Covered in Black, is looking to put together a whole new group. He's looking for candidates. And man, I went through so many.
I remember seeing that post
None of
too.
what I wanted. There was nothing that I wanted. There was a lot of people calling me, a lot of people I seen called me, and I was just like, nope, 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 not even gonna entertain it. My guitar student, Gunnar Rad, I called him and I was like, hey man, I want to start something new. And I really want to start from the ground up. I'm in a whole new mindset. I feel like I've kind of shed some skin. I said, and I have to start from the ground up one more time. I said, I know it's a big, big task of you, but I need a favor. He's like, whatever it is, Gordon, I got you. I said, would you be the lead guitarist for a new project that I want to put on? He goes, a lead guitarist?
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah. So it's outside of the wheelhouse, everything I've ever taught you. And he goes, yeah, I mean, I'm Asian, so I should be able to learn it pretty quick.
Oh man.
Yeah. Gunner's my dude, man. Oh man.
You know,
Um,
I didn't even know you taught guitar. I had no idea.
yeah, I started teaching guitar after the Project 65. I was approached and asked how much you charge. I said $15 an hour.
Cool, dude.
I do a 2 hour session and then walk home 30 bucks cheaper, or yeah, I guess you could say cheaper,
Yeah,
30 bucks richer. And I
it's
didn't do it
awesome.
for the money. I did it because somebody really wanted to learn how to play metal. So I started with acoustic and then I went from that to electric guitar because you got to start with acoustic in order to learn your basic chords and progress from there to the next thing. And then you got to learn about palm muting and power chords and, just the different pinch harmonics and all the other shit. But, um, yeah, dude. And then he's like, dude, I know somebody who can play bass. I said, really? He's like, yeah, his name's Eli. I'm like, oh, I know Eli. That's Chris's kid. He goes, yeah. And then he's like, here, I'll give you Eli's number. And I call Eli and I said, listen, man, I know you've been a roadie for Covered in Black before, and I know you play bass. Your dad's a dope ass bass player. Would you like to be a part of what I got going on now? I'm trying to start something from scratch. He goes, fuck yeah. I'm like, cool. He goes, well, let me call my cousin Chris. My cousin Chris plays drums. I'm like, okay. So then then he calls Chris and he gives me Chris's number and I talk to Chris. I said, listen, I'm gonna have all three of you guys come over for lunch. I'm gonna feed you guys, and I kind of want to explain what I want to do first, and then let me know if it's something that fits what you want to do. He's like, all right. Well, they all came over. I'm the oldest. The youngest is 17. The oldest is 20. So I feel like the dad in the room almost.
My man's a cradle robber.
Oh, yeah. But yeah. So fucking, they come over. Now, mind you, since that night that I left BC Billiards and I woke up the next morning and I was crying and shit, I didn't touch nothing, dude. I went into like a whole month and a half, 2 months of like just I didn't even want to look at the fucking guitars, dude. Like I was so upset because it's like, dude, I did all this for what? What did I do this for? I mean, dude, fucking 4 months ago I was open up for Josie Scott. Now I have nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it hit me that hard. I thought it was going to be a no-brainer of me coming back, and obviously that wasn't the case. So I had to figure out what I wanted to do next. Well, they show up. I bring my gear out. I opened that's the one you like so damn much, the
The
James
snake
Hetfield
bite.
ESP snake bite.
Dude, let me show you real quick because I have it with me.
Oh God.
An example of I'm too broke to afford the things I want, so I have to make do with what I got. I have my Epiphone Les Paul. I put the Hetfield inlays, the sticker vinyls on this shit.
So it's your Iron Cross, not Hetfield's. That's
Dude,
funny.
all I can say is Amazon came in clutch.
I bet it did.
$9 sticker pack, and all of a sudden I have a signature. No one's
My
got to know.
God. Did you at least like hold a level above the guitar to make sure everything lines up like with the symmetry and shit?
No.
That's funny. Anyway, um, so yeah, I bring the Hetfield guitar out, and dude, I pop open the case, and then all the emotions come rushing back. And Chris was the one that took the note, and he goes, "Dude, are you all right?" And I'm like, "You guys have no idea how hard I worked to get to where I was at, and for what I want to do next, I will blow them out of the water. I will blow anyone out of the water for the next fucking 300 miles outside of Florida. That's my goal here.
So
I need some huh?
up until that point, you hadn't even opened the guitar case
No, I
again.
did. I opened the guitar case
But
and
like
showed them that.
that was the first time since all the covered in black stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't want to touch it, dude. I was this close to selling all my gear.
Oh my God. I
Yeah, it
never would
went
have let you do
fast.
that. I never would have let that happen for you, dude. You got too much of a gift.
So I showed them the guitar. I started crying. I was trying not to. I was trying to hold my composure because I was trying to kind of make it kind of like a business meeting almost at the same time.
Yeah.
But
Sounded very
I wanted to
formal.
be upfront. I wanted to be honest and raw with them as well. I said, now listen, what I plan on doing, it's going to be demanding. I plan on pushing the next lead guitarist, the next bass player, and the next drummer I plan on playing with. And I will push and push and push until you will not like me no more. But I have a goal for what I wanted with Covered in Black. What say you? And then Gunnar was like, I'm in. Eli goes, I guess I have no other choice. And Chris was like, dude, this is inspiring. Absolutely. Well, we hung out and then like, well, when can we like set up and actually practice? The first practice was garbage. It was so bad. And I'm like thinking to myself, I have a long way to go again. Longer than last time. A lot longer because now I don't have I have a monitor. That's the
Hmm.
monitor I use for my vocals.
Okay.
Okay, I got my microphone right there. There's my Fender Mustang 4 amp. I have both the 4 button and the 2 button pedal that's on it. That's it. I have a mixing board, a conditioner. I don't have, the fucking 25 XLR cables you need to mic everything up. I'm starting from the bottom, bro. Again, the very bottom of the barrel.
You did it before, man. You could do it again.
I know.
You started
You've
last
seen the
time with
set list.
less. Oh
You've
yeah,
seen the set. You've seen the set list.
for sure.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
I would,
yeah.
and now
I'm
I know
not fucking off this time.
now I know you too, and I know that you're not going to play a single note of those songs, as demanding as those songs are, without the perfection that you need. So
Exactly.
I know it's going to be top tier for you.
Well, the first practice went garbage. Didn't have a name at the time. Um, I told the guys go home, really work on your shit, and I'll see you next week. Chris, the drummer, Chris Manis, he's the drummer that's with us now. Um,
Hmm.
he has probably been the most supportive as far as like, because there was a couple times I almost threw in the towel since I started this project tone. I didn't have a name. I went to bed and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pray about this and we'll put it in God's hands and let him kind of figure out what's gonna happen because I don't know what to do at this point. I mean, I got a group together, but this is not where I want to be.
Right.
I want to be beyond that, and I want to be better than where I just came from. Well, I woke up the next morning and I keep hearing this word in my head, tone. I'm like, yeah, tone, so what? Tone. And it just keeps repeating all day while I'm at work. Tone. I'm taking measurements at the wastewater plant. Tone. I'm taking a shit. Tone. I mean, okay. Tone. Okay. It's one syllable, four letters. And I can work with that. I don't see anything spectacular. Then in my head, I see this. I think I sent you a picture of it, the orange sticky note.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I see the letters TONE, and I'm like, and something in my head was like overlap them. Overlap what the letters? Okay, so I draw it out, and I'm like, hmm. It kind of looked funny because the N kind of just goes. I'm thinking to myself, well, let me see what I could do with this. So I kind of skew the N a little bit, and you notice that in the logo.
Yeah.
I separate the middle dash on the E from the frame of the E. And then I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I'm gonna give it some Metallica barbs. And I'm like, you know what? No, I don't know if I want to put Metallica barbs. I said, you know what? Let me switch sides for a minute. Let me give it some Megadeth barbs. So that looks pretty fucking sick. I said, okay. And then like I was like, all right, so this is what's up. And then in my head, I'm thinking to myself, let me overlap these now and see what it looks like.
Hmm.
Oh, that is fucking killer. It makes a logo. Oh man, that's cool. So I started playing around with shit, and I'm just like, yeah, tone. All right, I can work with that. Yeah. So I brought it up to the guys. I was like, what do you think of the name Tone? Tone. Yeah. Tone. All right, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I guess we could stick with that. So that's how the name came to be. So we just kind of stuck with it. Over time, there's like a couple practices that happen here and there. And during the time I was practicing with Gunnar, Eli, and Chris, um, Kevin approached me. He texts me out of nowhere and he says, "Hey man, trying to get the light. There we go. He says, "Hey man, so I just talked to one of my cousin-in-law's husbands, and he was saying I should get with you and do some acoustic stuff, and I think that's a good idea." I'm thinking to myself, did we just talk about this last time we seen one another? You didn't really give me an answer because you said
Right.
you didn't know, but I guess here's the sign. So he's like, "Yeah, man, what do you think? It's just me and you acoustically. We'll play some of we'll play we'll actually play a lot of places around here, and we'll get paid what the acoustic people are making, and it'll be like a real fun kind of part-time project." All right. So at the same time I'm working with Tone, I'm working with Kevin, and he comes over, we jam some acoustic stuff. First we start with unplugged versions of songs that I did in Covered in Black. Then we started playing shit like Drive from Incubus,
Oh,
Never Too
cool.
Late from 3 Days Grace,
Great songs.
Fine Again from Seether, Touch Peel Stand from Days of the New, uh, uh, Breakdown by Tantric. That's going to be our closer for our Hollow Point set. And
That's
we're thinking
awesome.
to ourselves, like, what's a good name? So we started throwing some different names out there, and I forget some of the ones, but the one that really stuck was Hollow Point. And Kevin came up with that. He's like, because Hollow Point, because it's like, we fucking we shoot through when we do our music, and it leaves a lasting impact. I'm like, that's cool. I like that. He's like, and it's hollow because it's acoustic. I'm like, all right, yeah.
Pretty dope.
So. And then he come up with the logo, the same company that I used to make Tone's logo. He sent me the contact information to them, and then the company made the logo and sent that to me. And he also had them make Hollow Point's logo, and he made the Facebook profile picture. I love that. It was like the two photos of me and him side by side from the first photo shoot we did with Covered in Black. But in the background, you see like all the memories of like when I was in Covered in Black, and like
Hmm.
the all the heaviness of me and him like playing together on stage. So, and that's how Hollow Point, and that's just been just an acoustic duo thing that we've been doing here in town, man. And we played in Avon Park at a veteran jam. Then we played at the Sunset Grill. We just got done playing at Tabby's last Saturday. What else did we play? The Speakeasy in Spring Lake, Florida. Then we played. We're supposed to be playing the Tap Room at some point. I've already talked to the lady who owns the place, and she's heard about us, and she says, "Yeah, we'd love to have you, but we plan on coming out to the 3B Fest. The owner plans on coming out because they want to see all the talent that's out there." I'm like, that's what's up. Yeah, I sent the guys home after we did our practice, and it was garbage, and I was just like, "Listen, man, y'all need to go practice." Um, and then we got back together. Things got better. Chris, the drummer, he had no idea how to double pedal, and from then to
Oh
now,
boy.
he's
Yeah.
good. He's good. He attempted the intro to Painkiller from Judas Priest, and he did all right.
Yeah.
He did good with it. He's working on it. He's not there yet. As far as Gunner and Eli at the very beginning, after a couple practices, we got to the point where, you know, um, we got to the point where they were not putting out what I needed. Chris was, and me and him both were trying to figure out what can we do to help kind of get them into the mindset of what's needed? Well, then it got to the point where practices started getting skipped. You know, um, neither one of them would have. They'd show up to practice. Nobody would have rehearsed their parts. And I got together with Chris and I said, you know what? Maybe we need to take a little bit of a break. Um, and I hate to say this, but I think we need to find some other candidates if we're going to do this. I said, you've been, you know, with me since I wanted to get back up on my feet. Let's see what we can find.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I called this guy named James, and he really cool dude. He showed up, and he was referenced to me from Frankie Scorpion, the lady who's putting on this 3B Fest.
Oh, cool.
Um, he showed up, he played, and me and me and Chris each made a band mix account, and we started hunting down lead guitarists. I probably went through maybe 15, 18 lead guitarists. And the current lead guitarist right now, Taylor Lynch, he answered the call. He practiced with us 3 times, and after the third time, he came back and he's like, "Hey man, I hate to break it to you, but I don't think this is for me, man. This isn't really my thing." And I was like, "Well, that's okay." He's like, "Well, when are you guys practicing again?" I said, "Well, I mean, we're gonna have to get together and have more of a meeting than a practice to figure out what we're gonna do next. Because if you're leaving," he's like, "Right, right. Well, you let me borrow your um." This blue one I have here. I let him borrow that. That's what I played the Stone Sour on right there.
Oh, cool.
And I let him borrow it because he was learning lead 4 Gone Sovereign Absolute Zero on that. And he brought it back to the house and he's like, listen, man, no, nothing against you, Chris, nothing against you, James. And Chris was like, Taylor, let me show you something. Because Taylor was kind of like not really confident in his playing. He's a great lead guitarist. Well, we recorded Megadeth, the Symphony of Destruction, and Chris played it back and he's listening to the solo. He goes, "That's me." Chris is like, "Yeah, you're a
Hmm.
lot better than you think." He goes, "Okay." I was like, "Well, since we're not bullshitting anymore and we're all talking about this, do you want to play one more time? Maybe just jam with us one more time?" He goes, "Yeah, I guess so." So the old lead guitarist that we let go, Gunner, it wasn't really a let go. He kind of left because he wasn't sure if it was something he really wanted, and it was a
Yeah.
lot because he was just learning rhythm guitar from me, and he forced himself to learn lead
Mm-hmm.
because he knew that's what I needed. Well, we called him and we told him the lead guitarist needs an amp because he forgot his amp. We weren't going to tell him that, oh well, he quit. So he's like, yeah, man, come get my amp, let him use it. So Gunner's 2 blocks away from my house. He drives over, he puts the amp over here. We practice, and then Taylor's hooked at that point.
Hmm.
When Taylor has improved a lot. He's bought 2 new guitars, a
Wow.
wah pedal, looking to get a multi effects pedal. Um, he's looking to get a monitor and then buy the XLR cords he needs to perform. And then he said he wants to help investing money into the PA when the time comes for that. So he's a team player. He drives an hour one way. So that's 2 hours of driving for an hour and 15 minutes of practice.
Wow.
He's dedicated. He's dedicated. James, we played an open practice on the porch. We played Live Wire from Motley Crue. We played The Thing That Should Not Be from Metallica. People loved it, dude. Old Covered in Black fans heard about it, and they come up here and they're just like,
Oh yeah.
they loved it, dude. We played Loco from Coal Chamber. Like they ate that shit up like candy. And then after we did a practice on the front porch and just had people come check us out. Um, James just out of nowhere, like a week later, was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna give the metal stuff a break, and you know, I found this other group that kind of fits what I really want to do." I'm like, "All right." I mean, it was kind of drop of the hat,
Yeah.
and it kind of fucked me up because I was like, I just got a text the week before. We let Eli go before James showed up because he just wasn't getting his act together. He wasn't getting his playing down. like as I was saying, he wasn't learning his songs, wasn't
Yeah.
getting gear when he had the time to get gear or the opportunity to get gear, like a better amp, a better head for his bass. And he texted me a week before James told me he was done playing metal. And he says, "Listen, man, I know you got a bass player, but I really, 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 I see what I've lost. And, you don't really know what you have until it's gone.
Hmm.
And if there was any way to come back, dude, I will be the absolute best bass player you will ever play with." Thinking to myself, that's some strong words, bro. You better be able to back that shit up. And as soon as James texted me that, I called Eli and I said, "Listen, you got your window. Consider next practice your secondary audition. If you pass, you're in. If I'm not satisfied, you are not playing." Well, he showed up. He put his money where his mouth was, and he became really good. Now he's playing anesthesia, pulling teeth.
Damn, dude.
Um, yeah, I lucked out. I lucked out, and we're getting all this shit set up. We're practicing, and then Frankie Scorpion 2 months ago. Hey, now I'm catching up to present day stuff. Frankie Scorpion uh, texted me and she says, "Hey, I got this big music festival I'm looking to put on at Sugar Sand Distillery, at least big for Highlands County. Would you guys want to be a part of it with your new band?" And I guess word started going around because, of course, I've told Kevin about I had a new band going on, and I told old Covered in Black fans I have a new band I'm doing, and it made its way to her. She's calling me, and she's like, because I have multiple openings, and I'm trying to get bands in there, and I'm like, "Yeah, um, how many bands do you need?" And she's like, "Well, I need a metal band." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." I said, "How long?" She goes, "About an hour, hour and a half." Okay, sounds good. Um, so me and the boys, we played our first show. It was a private showing at Eli's wedding. Him and his wife Mia, they got married, and it was at Strikes Lounge at the Eagle Ridge Mall here in Florida, in Polk County. Yes, the Polk County with Grady Judd, that Polk County.
I was
I
gonna
hope
say
people are like, "Yes, that. Yep, that's
the
that's where that.
infamous
Yep.
Polk County.
Can't miss Mr. Grady Judd." And he's only one county above. He's like the most famous sheriff in the world, and
Yeah.
he's literally my next door neighbor to the north. That's insane. Literally 40 minutes up the road. Anyway, so we played that show. Eli's mother knows a lot of people, and she captured us playing the second half of Gone Sovereign, the first half of Absolute Zero. Well, that video made its rounds, and it's probably sitting at probably close to 800 views. And it made its rounds. It gets back to Frankie. She shows it to her promoters, and she says, "Listen, we want to give you guys the headline spot. How do you feel?" The emotion started like coming back, like, "Damn, dude, like that's a big for me. That's a big thing. Like,
Yeah, it is a big thing.
you really, huh?"
I said, yeah, it is a big thing.
Yeah, I'm like,
Like,
"You're really fixing to give me, you're really fixing to open the door to let me step back onto the pedestal where I was with all new people?" She's like, "If you want it, it's there." I'm like, "All right, yeah, yeah, we'll fucking headline, yeah." And then she asked me if I knew any other bands because she needs a couple openers that can do 30-minute sets. I'm like, "I know a guy personally, and he also knows a guy that plays acoustic." So both of my projects are playing at this thing coming up Saturday,
that's very cool, man.
May 3rd.
So now, yeah, I was just gonna say Saturday, May 3rd at now the name always escapes me, Sugar Sands Distillery.
Sugar Sand Distillery.
Very cool. And this is the 3B Fest. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, Bud, Bud beer, and what's the third B?
Bud, booze, and beats,
There we
sir.
go. Bud, booze, and beats. Um, yeah, that's the first actual festival in Sebring County, right? Or Highlands County, Sebring, whatever.
Highlands County. Yeah, Highlands County consists of Lake Placid, Sebring, and Avon Park. Sugar Sand Distillery is more on the Lake Placid side, but it's in, so I guess you could say it's in Lake Placid. The address says Lake Placid.
Mm,
Um, but it is on the backside between Sebring and Lake Placid. Uh, but yes, it is the very first music festival here in Highlands County. Now I know other people who live here in Highlands County are probably going to give me shit for that because there's been the there's been the seafood and music festival at Sebring Raceway in the past, and there's the arts festival, and they have bands. This is different.
yeah.
This is a cannabis event, yes, but it is cannabis, you know, dispensaries that are sponsoring this event. Sugar Sand Distillery, one of the local tattoo shops, Scully's Tattoo. He's helping run sound with Mr. Billy Ridge. Billy Ridge is a really cool cat. He originally was playing guitar for Brian Warner, and those who don't know who Brian Warner is became Marilyn Manson.
Sure did.
He's from Miami, so him being in the area and having as much sound equipment as he does, as he says, he can power everything here as far as like stadium size compared to like the Miami Bowl. Like he's
Wow.
apparently he used to run sound for it. If I may be mistaken there, I think that's what he said. He's just got a lot of equipment and he's got enough to really put. I think he said it was like 16,000 watts in total. Emily Arena in Tampa does 24.
My
For
God.
Highlands County, that's impressive. And he's not bringing all of it, thank God, because he'd probably blow the walls off the bar on site.
Oh yeah, you guys would get shut down on the first note.
But um, yeah, man. I mean, this is the first music festival, and it's multiple genre. You got
Hmm.
country, me and my buddy Kevin, and I think there's one other or two other people that are doing acoustic, just general acoustic music. You got country, R&B, hip hop, um, EDM, because there's going to be some DJs that are there that night. Daniel Frazier, DJ Glowboy, I know him personally. He used to run some every once in a while he would run lights for Covered in Black's show back when I was with them.
Cool.
Um, yeah. So and then DJ Iwatani, I've never seen her name around here, so I guess she's part of the whole EDM thing that they're doing. Ronnie Cole, I know him from school. That's I know him as Preston. Um, a couple other ones in there. Copperhead, he's a hip hop artist. Um, and my personal favorite, Rose End.
Oh
I've
yeah.
been listening to their music when I found out they were part of the lineup. They're original, hard rock and metal, and I believe they're coming from the Fort Myers area. I could be wrong. Don't shoot me. But they are coming from out of town, and we are extremely blessed to have an original band like that come from out of town to provide entertainment for the first ever music festival here in Highlands County.
Send me a link to their music. I'll definitely check them out.
Absolutely, absolutely, dude.
So,
Wonderful, wonderful music, man, for sure.
so you had also mentioned to me that there's a possibility, luck would have it, that the 3B festival might actually make its way up here. Um, I know that's like still being put together, but there's a possibility now of Tone making their way up to Long Island.
Yes, yes. Miss Frankie told me that she knows a lady up there by the name of Patty, and I guess you've worked with her before of PD. Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
PDT Entertainment.
Patty
Yeah.
Dodge. Yeah,
So, and that's the plan. Um, depending on what me and the guys have going on at the time, because who knows what tomorrow's going to bring? Who knows what the next couple months are going to bring?
right.
There's no set date, but yes, the 3B Fest that's going on up in Long Island, New York. Um, the plan is to have us up there to play. So, I mean,
That'd be awesome, man. It would be
it would
great
be.
if there.
I would love to play. I hate. I know this is going to sound like I'm sheltered. I'm 31. I've never been out of the state of Florida.
You're kidding. Wow, dude. Get the
So
fuck out of Florida.
I'm kind of scared. Like there's so much like loose and lenient laws here, and from what I heard up north, sometimes people don't play no shit. So like, and I have a
It's
mouth. I'm from
listen,
the
man.
south.
You got you got a mouth from the South, but that's nothing compared to a New York attitude, trust me.
Look, I ain't trying to be a rival right now. I'm just saying, I ain't trying to get in no trouble doing nothing.
You're
I
safe,
just
don't
want to have a
worry.
good time and entertain people. So that would be the goal getting up there. That's all I'm
Well,
saying.
if the festival does happen to actually go on and you guys make your way up here, I'll help out any way I can. If I'll talk to Rosalie, see if I can give you guys a place to stay or whatever, like whatever can
That
help
would be
out.
awesome.
Um, yeah, man, it would be so sick after 10 years of knowing you to actually finally meet you and see you do your thing live.
This
And
is close enough. I'm enjoying this. This is
yeah,
nice.
man. This is
You know,
for anyone who doesn't know. Gordon lives in Florida. Obviously, I live in New York, and this is the first time we've ever gotten on a phone call together, let alone a Zoom call.
first time
So,
we've ever talked. Period. No, no, that's a lie. We were sending voice texts back and forth, conversating
yeah, yeah,
yesterday,
it's
but
been a
that
lot
was the
of
first official time. This
it,
is the first official time we've actually been on call with one another.
exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if you guys make your way up here, I would be so happy to actually like get to come see you guys. I'd love to rip one with you too if you'd have me up there. I think that'd be cool as shit. But, dude, I hope that that happens. I hope that they can pull it off and make 3B a thing. The uh, the weed laws up here are a little stricter than they are down there, so I don't know how it will go. But you never know, you know.
Yeah.
I think as long as people aren't like out smoking like right in public, I think everything will be all right. But yeah, dude, I hope Frankie can put that together. I hope that her and Patty could work something out and get you guys up
Oh,
here.
I do want to give Miss Frankie a plug because I remember when I was in Covered in Black when Kurt fell at the Circle Theater. I talked to her afterwards, and she told me, you know, it's amazing to see that you're pulling something off here. That's I mean, there's been bands and a scene here, but it's like something different is going on, and it's like you're kind of opening a door that's never been opened. And then when she hits me with we finally got a music festival going, and she's saying that, Gordon, you partially inspired this. I want you to know that. And I'm just like, what? Like that means a lot because again, since after high school, before, during, whenever, when I first started to see that this place could use that type of, uproar tour, Earth Day, birthday, welcome to Rockville type day
Yeah, man.
of entertainment, and people will pay. They will come. you know, um, it's absolutely mind blowing just to see what she's done, and I really really hope there will be more because this type of lifestyle, this type of me and you heavy metal rockers, whatever. It's in an area like this, it's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
It's a very rocky, jagged uphill battle. Almost like you're trying to climb up the wall onto the ceiling, then on top of that. Like it's tough. And to see what she's done so far, it's amazing. So, but yeah, big shout out to Frankie, man, and I really hope this is gonna be, pave the road for future events like this for every genre. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
I'm metal through and through, I like acoustic and alternative and shit, but for every genre, everyone deserves their piece of the pie.
Yeah,
And
man.
that's all I got to say about that.
I think it's a cool thing. And I think that like right now there's a lot of wheels turning in a lot of different areas of this country because you turn on the radio and you hear so many bands now. It's not the same bands all the time anymore. Now it's like you got dozens and dozens of bands doing the damn thing. And that reflects more on a smaller scale too. Like you have so many bands in one market that are trying to do the same thing. So obviously the competition's there, but who's going to show that they're to be taken seriously above the rest, you know? Um, Competition's a bitch because every band goes into every single show thinking that they're going to have to outperform somebody else or they have to do this better. They have to do like a better show, better like their attire on stage has to be better, their equipment has to be better.
You
And
know,
like it removes a lot of the brotherhood from it. It's a lot of
and
camaraderie.
that's I'm happy you bring that up because you know what? This is how I look at it coming back out there as Tone. Even if we get out there and we perform, even when we get our originals out there, and it's not as good as this band or that band, I'm gonna look at the people that's getting on the stage before us and after us, and I'm gonna pat them on the shoulder. I'm gonna shake their hand and just tell them what an absolute honor it is to be out here bringing the smiles to these people's faces with you guys. To me, that's all that matters. I'm not trying to one up anyone. And just to clear the air, because I'm sure people are assuming or wondering, my old band, every one of them, I have absolute love for, and I really, really, if it wasn't for my time and what I did, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, you know, and I love those guys to death, and this is where my life is going now. And I wish them the best of luck. And we're out here to put smiles on people's faces, man. That's it. You know, it's kind of where I'm at this point. So
I think that I think you're very level-headed with what you're trying to do. I think that your past experiences have really come full circle for you and taught you a lot. Um, Been a 10-year ride for you, dude. You know, you started this not knowing what you were capable of, and now that you see your own potential, you're taking over, dude. And I'm so happy for you. Um,
thank you.
you've always been, for as long as I've known you, you've been a very stand-up dude. You've been someone who's proud of your life that you've built. Um, and you should. You know, you have Brianna. She's awesome to you. You have your daughter. Like you have a life, and I'm proud of you, dude, because like a lot of dudes, they're not gonna acknowledge that they have a good home life in exchange for what they actually want. And like you've always put home first. You've always built on home as your priority. Not a lot of people doing that. Not a lot of people are gonna say, "Well, I have something good going," and just assume everything's okay at home. Like for you to actually reflect and say, "Hey, I gotta make home right before I worry about anything else." That's such a stand up, just what it takes to be a man kind of thing, you know? And
Appreciate that.
that can't go unrecognized. Everything that you've accomplished, you deserve. Everything you've worked for, you deserve. And it's kind of hard to see through the black clouds sometimes, but there's always that lining there for you. Um, you closed the door for yourself, and you had to have known like when you left covered in black, there was a chance they weren't going to take you back. But look where it got you. You came back with a
Yeah,
fire under you like you've never had before, you know? Your motivation, man, it's something honestly admirable and inspirational. So I wish you sincerely the best of luck on Saturday. I hope you kick shit in with both bands. I hope that you guys are firing on all cylinders, and even if it doesn't make your way up here with 3B, I hope that this is a mainstay down there for you. I hope you featured as often as you want to be because what you're doing, you're building a scene. You're you spearheaded it with Covered in Black. You did something that your area has not ever been comfortable with, and you made them comfortable with it. And you've created a legacy for yourself, man. You're self-made. You did it. Like win, lose or draw, you are just you're all uphill. Even when you fell down the hill, you still got back up and you went right back up, man. That's some crazy inspirational shit, especially coming from somebody who my last band fell apart 5 years ago and I haven't put anything together since. As much as I want to get back on the stage, I'm fucking terrified, man. Truly terrified. And I have uh, a music scene where guitarists, bassists, drummers are a dime a dozen. Like I could put the feelers out there and get it going, but it's I'm terrified. So
No, I hear you. And
to
having the correct amount of chemistry, having the correct amount of understanding between members,
yeah.
and this is what I tell my guys, you know, and I guess I haven't given them love at all except explaining the road, but I will say this. Chris, he's the drummer. He does a phenomenal job. Had no idea how to play double pedal, can play double pedal now, and is gung ho excited about everything we got coming out. Taylor has been a phenomenal lead guitarist and has only gotten better and really, really, really busts his ass to be the best player he can be. And he really studies the guitar solos to the finest half note. He is like that tuned to it. And Eli, from having his head in his ass the first time around, being let go, replaced, and then being able to come back, that doesn't just happen with some bands, dude.
No, man.
And to see him come back and do what he's doing now, playing, investing into a brand new bass, playing anesthesia, pulling teeth, and he wants to do that, and he wants to mesh the Day on the Green intro to For Whom the Bell Tolls for the show this Saturday.
Wow.
Like, I watched him do it twice. Like, God has blessed me, hands down. I can't be more proud of these guys. It's a little tense. It's crunch time. Tomorrow night is our last rehearsal, but I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be all right.
Listen,
And
dude.
then after the show, we really got to buckle down and focus on our 30 songs, getting our PA, and getting a sound person. We have to find a sound person to run the sound while we play, so this way we're not trying to hiccup between stuff. But as far as my new band Tone goes, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that we are the next small town Metallica, like I was telling people when I was in Covered in Black, but I can confidently tell you this. We are on our way up and it's looking really fucking good and people really need to stay tuned. Plain and simple.
You give a lot of people their flowers. You say how proud you are of everybody else, but you also need to say it about yourself too. You really do. You got to be proud of yourself, man. You know your
I am
story.
proud of myself. I'm proud of myself for picking my ass right back up, putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm proud of, you know, seeing that my road doesn't end where I was left off, you know?
Hmm.
And, I hope other musicians, aspiring musicians, you know, see this and I hope it just gives them that nudge to keep going forward. Because let me tell you, when you feel like there's nothing
Hmm.
and you look back at all the shit that you've done, the shit that you've accomplished, I mean, bro, my BC Rich has Josie Scott's signature on it. I didn't get to play for him, but it was just like because of what I thought of up here and manifested it into reality
Hmm.
because my heart was in it. I own one of nu metal's greatest vocalists signature on one of my household items. Like
Yep.
that blows my fucking mind. I grew up playing video games and watching movies with saliva in it. His hand wrote his name on my guitar. What? That's insane. But it just goes to show you, it was an idea I had, and it brought me down that road.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, Tone is going to be even farther than that. I'm
As you
going to
should,
be
man.
humble every step of the way, and I'm going to use my right and wrongs that I learn to get to that moment and the moments beyond that. So, ugh.
Well, dude, I think we're gonna wrap things up, but it has been a privilege getting to hear your story, which is a truly incredible story. Um,
Appreciate it.
I've known you for a bit, and I never knew really like the where you came from side of things. So it was great to learn about you tonight and see your come up because it makes your story that much better knowing everything, you know, your roots and how you never forgot them and how you're always reflecting on what started this for you. So I'm proud of you, man. Keep going, crush it on Saturday. I know you guys are gonna do so good, and just keep it going, man. You're living the dream.
Thank you,
But
brother. I appreciate that.
of course, man. That's gonna wrap it up for us, though. I will have this out on Friday, and yeah, dude, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great. I would love to have you on again sometime.
Oh, absolutely. I got plenty of stories. I got plenty of other subjects we can cover. So, all right, Matt. I appreciate it, brother.
Of course, brother. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Thank you, Gordon, for coming on here and telling your story. I am so proud of you, dude. You're going to crush it this weekend at the 3B Festival, and hopefully it works out that you guys can make your way up here if there's a New York iteration. Thank you for your time and your support. Everybody who listens, all of the interactions on social media, who tells their friends to listen. I love you all. I appreciate you more than words can say. Again, the easiest and the cheapest way for someone to support a friend's business ventures is to just help get the word out. Share the page, like and share a post, tell a friend about something I've said or a band that you heard on the podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, put in the codes and nuke that subscribe button. It goes a long way. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you again on the next one. You have been listening to the Face and Music Podcast. Be well, everybody. Be safe, and I will see you again soon. Peace.